I don't know if you guys can hear that beat, but I'm loving it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys can hear that beat because I'm really, really feeling it right now. And I think that's exactly what's happening over at Xbox. They feeling that beat too. They seem to be having a hell of a celebration, ladies and gents. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I'm glad you guys could join us. And no, it's not Friday yet. It's Wednesday. I had to call this emergency family meeting so we can discuss what has been happening since last Friday. If you don't know, we're about to clue you in, but then again, you've been living under a rock or you just don't care about things related to gaming. But yeah, man, it has been a hectic week on the Xbox side of things. As a result, we have a lot to discuss today, mainly about Xbox. And you know how tired or how sick and tired I am personally of talking about Xbox. I think personally I have talked about Xbox to death. And if it was up to me, we would not be having this conversation about Xbox right now. But I think it's important for us to just unpack what happened. Everybody's been talking about it, and this is a developing story. Lots of stuff has happened. So I will be joined. So Loke is somewhere here. He's somewhere in the background. I tried to wake him up. I think he fell asleep again. I'll also be joined by Taye. He said he is on his way. I'll keep an eye out for him. Taye, if you do make it here and we're busy in the middle of something, please just drop me a message in the chat because I'm not gonna check. I probably won't check my phone and I won't see what's happening. But yeah, ladies and gents, it has been a packed one. It has been an eventful one and it's been an interesting week. If you don't know, there has been some huge shakeups at Xbox. God, freaking Xbox. Can Xbox for once just stop with the news? Like, I would love an uneventful week for Xbox for once. That's just me personally. A week where nothing happens for Xbox. I would love that. But like, it seems like just when we're about to talk about not Bullet Point. What is the studio's name? Come guys, tell me. The studio. Blue Point. Just when we're about to focus on Blue Point and Sony and their L's, Xbox has to come and take the spotlight. And it's not just a minor story when it comes to spotlight. This is pretty big. It's pretty huge. It's huge, bigger than any news. So what do we have lined up for you today? So basically what we're going to discuss is the following. We're going to discuss the leadership. I don't think yes, Raichi, welcome. Thank you for that. And guys, if this is your first time here, hit the like button. Raichi, please hit that like button. I'm sure it will help some way. In the nebulous algorithm, yes. Reggie says Jim Ryan lost at 5 minutes. I don't know. Like, I don't think anything that Jim Ryan did at Sony was sort of like this spectacular in fashion. In terms of what just recently happened now with namely Sarah Bond. Everyone seems to be having a good time except Sarah Bond. And it's weird to me because the month that they chose to let Sarah Bond go pursue other opportunities just happened to be February. The jokes write themselves, ladies and gents. But okay, cool. So we have a packed show tonight. So what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the leadership shakeups at Xbox. Just unpacking that. I have some video, should I say footage, or I've got some video clips or some response or like a breakdown of what happened from IGN's Destin. I also have another one from, I believe, Colt Eastwood, which is much more recent, which is no, actually both of them are recent. I think both of them are from today. So basically we're going to be breaking down what happened in the past week with Xbox. what are some of the key changes that have happened in terms of leadership and how that might potentially affect Xbox going into the future. We're going to talk about the new president of Xbox's vision going forward. And again, like these are subjects that have been discussed to death by now, but I believe that between Taye, Loke, and I, we can be able to shed some, different perspectives because we tend to sort of debate and unpack these things. We don't take them at face value and just say, okay, cool, this is what's happening. We're going to go with that. So we're going to unpack that from our perspective. Taye's perspective is more from the business side as to say, okay, cool, this is how he sees, what's going to happen to the strategy. And I'm curious to actually find out where Taye's perspective comes from, because for the longest time he has believed in Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer's vision. Well, at this point, if we look at what's happening at Xbox, it looks like it was just Sarah Bond's vision. This had nothing to do with Phil, because Phil is still standing there on stage. Like it's like they just swapped Sarah out for Sharma, and now she's in the middle between Matt Booty and Phil Spencer. I don't know, man. It's the new three is a party. So yeah, so we're gonna be unpacking that. I thought this was funny. Sorry, I couldn't help but cheers. But yeah, so it looks like Sharma has won over Xbox followers' hearts over Sarah. Poor Sarah. What they did to Sarah needs to be studied. How do you Game of Thrones this poor woman during African American History Month? Cold. That's real cold. But anyways, we'll we will be exploring what Sharma's vision is for Xbox going forward. So there's a lot that's been said. See, that this is the one thing for me that I found particularly interesting. There was a lot that was said by Sharma in her first few hours as head of Xbox. And for me personally, I found it very interesting because the way, like, there was one specific statement that she said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it said, "Return to Xbox." Rachel, am I quoting it correctly? She says, "We're going to return to Xbox." So, like, I would like to understand from the leadership team's perspective, what does that mean? Return to Xbox? Wasn't this Xbox all the time? Xbox being everything except the Xbox? For me as a fan, I know what I see when I see that, or what I read when I see that. I see return to Xbox as in, return to focus on the actual box, which for the longest time, all the clapping seals on Twitter have been saying, no, but Xbox is more than the box, blah, 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 which we all know is BS. And for the longest time, I was under the impression that the strategy of this was working. And that's what we've been told. That's what everybody used to shut us up and say, okay, cool, the strategy is working. But we'll get into deeper into that. We'll also talk about the games and the content that Xbox has planned for this year. How is that going to be affected by the new leadership? Now, the first thing that comes to mind, and this is probably the first thing that comes to your mind as well, is that where is Asha Sharma from? What is her background? By now, I'm just playing stupid. But where is her background from? And how will this affect her leadership going forward? And the sort of choices that she makes for Xbox going forward. So we'll explore that and what that means for the players. And of course, we've already seen the usual clapping seals replacing their profile pictures with hers. And it's just weird shit, man, for grown men to be doing. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you can be a fan of something, but like, that's just, again, like, I don't take that seriously. I just think it's people trying to grift. Rachie, please let me know, is my sound good? Because I've had issues with sound, but I am sure this time, this is the final time I have got the sound sorted. If there's any echoes, please let me know. But yeah, if you just joined us, welcome. Please hit the like button. We are expecting a couple of guests to join us. But while we wait for the guests, we will, start things off. I'll start with Destin Lagrange, Lagrange, a friend of the channel. Lies. And we will hear what he has to say. So if you don't know who Destin is, you can go check his channel out. He is former correspondent or journalist for the reputable publication or gaming publication called IGN. He now runs his own channel. He's got his own stuff. Look, the guy he produces very good content. Just like Colt Eastwood, another guy whose stuff I'm going to share. But we'll do the whole copyright friendly stuff. Okay, cool. So guys, please like and interact with us in the chat. So far we have Richie in. If you are there, please feel free. Drop us a comment. Drop us a hello. Hi guys. Glad to be joining the show. And since we're on a Wednesday and I've been talking to Ty about this, what other stuff would you like to see from us? Like, I'm a wrestling guy, right? I love wrestling. I love movies, series, and TV. So generally I love all entertainment. And between Ty, Loke, and I, when we're just chilling, we talk about this stuff all the time, and we have some very valuable insights that you might find valuable. If you would like us to have maybe a second show, not just on Fridays, but let's say in the middle of the week, that addresses or that talks about these other things, or these other things or entertainment subjects that tend to have strong fandoms online, please let us know. We're happy to do that. We do this because we love it. We do this because you love it, and we love discussing these things with you. All right, so without further ado, I think let's head to our first video. But just before we do that, I just wanted to share this again. I just think this is so funny. Oh man, I feel for Sarah Bond though. Like, everybody at Xbox seems to be having a party just without Sarah Bond. She's just the only person that's not invited. And it's ironic to me because let's not forget, this is the 25th anniversary of Xbox. So this is where everything is supposed to be coming together. And it seems like we are exactly where we were in circa 2017, 2018, where we have to wait for another great reset from Xbox. And things are sort of going to start from scratch again. We're going to go back to promises of great exclusives, which is what Phil promised us in 2017. It seems like we're back there again with a new leader. That's a good question. If you're listening, so Reishi, which one of the $2 million earning execs is hotter, like Asha, Sharma, or Sarah Bond? I won't lie, like I'm not a fan of Sarah Bond's decisions as far as Xbox is concerned, but I'll pick Sarah Bond. In this particular instance, I'll go with Sarah. There's just something about Sarah Bond, just even when I know she's talking BS, and then she's promising us sweet nothings. She was convincing. I get why Phil fell for it. I get it, Phil. I get it. I just think you did a little bit dirty, like, for not taking equal accountability, because a lot of these were your ideas as well. But okay, cool. Without further ado, let's get the show started. I will let the guys in as they come in. I am expecting Taye to come through. I'm expecting Loke to come through, and I'm also expecting Kenwell to come through, who was with us in our last show. If you don't know who Kenwell is, he's a frequent contributor to Taye's channel as well. Okay, cool. So the first things first, I wanted us to sort of like break down, if you don't know what's been going on, I wanted us to break down for you what has been happening at Xbox. So I'm wondering, should I go with Colt first? So ladies and gents, let's go with Colt. Colt has great production values. I hope he does like the production value thing and we don't have to just look at Colt's face. No offense, Colt. I'm a big fan of Colt. So let's see what Colt Eastwood had to say about what recently took place at Xbox. Xbox. Let's go. I hope the music is not too loud, but this should actually cancel it out. Let's see.
This is Colt Eastwood. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the marching orders for Asha Sharma, future of Xbox. If you end up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new content. And let's talk about what's happening in the future for the Xbox brand. Phil Spencer's immediate departure
Yeah, let's just change.
of Xbox. The face of the brand has shocked fans around the world. His replacement is a much younger CEO, new to gaming, and even new to Microsoft, Asha Sharma. Phil Spencer has been leading the Xbox brand in force for almost 10 years, making the biggest changes with a focus on hardware, exclusivity.
I'll stop it there. I believe Tay has joined us. Tay, welcome in. Welcome. Good to have you on the show. Maybe I've got too many things open here. I'll see if I can minimize a couple. Tay, what's good? What you been up to? Tay, calling Tay. Can you hear me? Tay.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Hello. All right. So I think Tay is also about his sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What's up?
Can you
What's
hear
up?
me?
Yes, I can.
Yep, I can hear you. Good.
Sorry
good,
for being
man.
late. A lot of things to
I'm just trying to get back to something. No. Oh, but it's the middle of the week, so we are in the
was hearing you
stand.
talk
We
about,
understand, and you are a
do. I was going to
descendant.
talk about Sarah, about the situation, and
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's I think it's overall, because you mentioned something that was interesting. You said that you feel like Phil's been allowed to like maybe like escape a lot of the blame. I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if anybody here believes, or even like the actual people who know this information actually believes Sarah Bond was at fault. I think maybe that article maybe attributed a lot more blame to her, in the sense that it didn't really talk about what Satya and Phil was doing as much. But I think the general community, we understand that she was the executioner, and we understand that like Phil had a lot to do here, so I don't think everyone who I've spoken to doesn't really look at it and say, oh, Sarah's at fault. They kind of feel like the execution was hers, but they do know for a fact that Satya mandated this, and also Phil.
Okay. So, do you believe that the Game of Thrones there on Black History
yes or
Month?
no? Because I don't. Well, but the question is like, what else was going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Like how else could this possibly end?
Well,
Because
I
I'll give you
mean,
an example, yeah. If
would
Sarah
a nice
Sarah
send
Bond-
off would have hurt them to like
No.
say, well, thank you for your contribution, Sarah. We appreciate
I
it.
agree there.
But we decided to go
but a
back
part of me
in a
wants-
different direction.
I agree there, but a part of me also wonders. Did Sean Layden get a send off?
No, but like he made it clear that he was pushed out.
Yeah, but yeah, she was pushed out too.
Okay. No, like that's all I like for me. That's the only thing I'm saying.
But put it this way, yeah. I think you could make this argument that Sarah was playing the Game of Thrones to some extent, like that she wanted the CEO spot.
Yes, you did.
If you're the lieutenant of the current CEO, the previous CEO, and you're being groomed for this position, and everyone internally thinks you're gonna get it, and everyone externally thinks you're gonna get it, when you don't get it, like you have to leave. Like this is not even like she will leave at her own accord, because that would just be disrespectful. Okay, you passed me up on this promotion that is supposed to be mine. Maybe she might feel that way. So that's that. But also, the new CEO can't have someone who's gunning for their position in their cabinet. That's just like
No, I get all that. Look,
it's not going to work.
I get all that. I'm just saying that to me, it's just the optics are freaking weird, man. Like, as you say, so they gave her marching orders, she executed the orders, she did what Phil, I mean, we've discussed this and we will unpack this further. She did what Phil had mandated, well, not mandated, but what he had envisioned. She carried it out, and I would say she did it to perfection. I would say that if you look at like her execution in terms of her, like, I mean, she's got so many milestones that she accomplished.
Well, I mean, name them.
Yeah, one being the her success with Game Pass, bringing titles like that Pokemon clone game.
I chose Arasaka Middle Tech. Look at this guy.
Yes, he did choose Arasaka.
Arasaka, of course.
So if you go through like everything that she's done, like her accomplishments mainly talk to Game Pass. They talk 100%. To the Activision deal and making sure that got through.
Okay, but hold on. Okay, so Game Pass, Activision, what else?
Your favorite initiative, Play Anyway. That was her big drive, that instead of everything being fixed onto one platform, let everyone, that's all her stuff. I mean, like, there's even an article that recently came up that we'll probably, if we find time, we'll discuss, where she was the one that I think someone got fired or let go or went or whatever. And then she then became in charge of, she had direct influence over marketing or the marketing team. And her messaging was to double down on this Xbox is everywhere.
So Game Pass, Activision, Play Anywhere, and what else? Something else?
But I mean, those were her main focuses. That was her main mandate. I can't think of many other things, but she touched on a lot of other things. But just those three, I think, are the most important.
Okay, well, there's actually four that I can think of, right? So we can talk about the first one, which is Game Pass, and I can say that Game Pass was amazing. She did an amazing job. I don't think I was gonna
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question before, just about Game Pass. Under her tenure, did Game Pass grow?
It did, yes.
Okay. Did she manage to get the Activision? Given whatever her role was in that, but in my understanding, her role was quite significant. Did she ensure that was passed?
Yes.
All right. And then the last one was Play Anyway. Did she do everything she possibly could to ensure that Xbox games were successful or were available on other platforms?
Yes.
And as an extension of that, did these games become successful? Did she achieve success by putting games on PlayStation?
Yes.
Yes, she did. I mean, she managed to put Forza. Forza went over, it was a unanimous success. So look at those things. But
let's start first again. So you mentioned Game Pass, right? And I would say, Game Pass was successful under her tenure. What if Microsoft looked at it and said, actually, Game Pass actually fucked everything up? I mean, you were so successful with Game Pass that now that we know Game Pass isn't the right thing to do, your success is actually hurting us. And we don't like Game Pass anymore, and we want to cancel Game Pass. And you are one of the people who led Game Pass. How about that?
Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that. So let's do this. I want us to go through this video with Colt. I've got two videos that I actually wanted to talk through because they sort of address all these things. And then we can have the conversation. Just for anyone who does not understand what this conversation is about. So that just they are on the same page as we are. So before we unpack all this stuff. Happy with that?
Yeah, fire away.
Cool. But did you see this first? I wanted to show you this.
Colt's video. Oh, yeah. Both of them fighting. Sarah and the other one fighting.
Yeah, where is it? Oh, man. It's actually gone now.
No, that's fine. I saw it already. Go ahead.
I wanted to play it again. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go to Colt. I know this is one of your favorite guys. You just love you some Colt Eastwood. Ah.
Appeasing Satya Nadella and pushing exclusives over to the competition to keep those acquisitions. Put plainly, Xbox fans didn't really like the Phil Spencer of the past 2 to 3 years, and now that he's gone, things look even more dire. Asha Sharma comes from a brief 2-year background in core.
Okay, first things first. Do you agree with that statement?
That actually comes from a 2-year background.
No. About Phil Spencer, all the stuff that he just said about Phil Spencer.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch it. He said Phil Spencer. Sorry, what was it?
Yeah, because you don't like cults. That's why you didn't catch it.
Xbox fans admired Phil Spencer, but reviled his focus on appeasing regulators, appeasing Satya Nadella, and pushing exclusives over to the competition to keep those acquisitions.
Yeah, I'll stop it there.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Thoughts? You think that's correct? That's accurate?
Yeah, that is. Xbox fans. I think the last few years with Phil and Xbox fans has been extremely strained.
I'm an X. I'm an X of Xbox. I'm an Xboxer. I think that's a campaign that they had.
Put plainly, Xbox fans didn't really like the Phil Spencer of the past 2 to 3 years, and now that he's gone, things look even more dire. Asha Sharma comes from a brief 2-year background in core AI.
Do you believe this? Do you agree? Sorry, do you not believe it? Do you agree with what Phil? Sorry, what Coles just said there? That what happened now with Phil Spencer, and we'll get to Sarah, puts Xbox in a much more dire position than they were.
Wait, sorry, him leaving has put Xbox in a dire position?
Yes, that is what Coles is claiming.
No, not at all. I think this is 100% needed for sure. I don't think
wait. You think this is needed? In other words, you think this is necessary?
100%. I think there might be some
very interesting.
There might be some fallout in terms of certain things being cancelled or changed around, like a whole completely restructure. However, I think this is 100% needed. I think the beats, the vibe that everyone's having now is a good one. You know, somebody said to me yesterday that like, oh, I can 100%. I don't buy that. Like, you know, Xbox people within Xbox are happy. You know, don't mind them. They don't like it. And I said, no, from a friendship point of view, you could look at Phil and probably say they're sad to see him go because he is a genuine nice guy and he is a gamer. However, from a business point of view, they probably all want to change 100%.
Okay, so you don't think or you don't believe that him leaving will affect the company and all the plans that they've made this far for Xbox. Everything that him and Sarah have been building since 2017. You don't think that plan will be affected or impacted negatively?
There might be some effect, but I think the execution is going to be a little bit different, and there might be things that might be let go, right? So, for example, the console's still going to happen. That's there. It is what it is. The PC storefront is still being upgraded. That's there, right? Cloud is still going to be a cornerstone. That's there. All the pillars are still going to be there. The difference is what is the execution like, right? And the only notable thing that I can see changing from Phil's tenure is Game Pass. Like everyone keeps talking about like the console. This guy, console. The perspective of the console. So it's not the console is going to be the problem. Game Pass.
We'll get into Game Pass. We'll get to. I just wanted to just get your gist of like what is your feeling around if you just you know.
No, I think it's a great feeling. I think it's a good feeling. I think everyone should be happy with what they're seeing.
Except for Sarah Bond, eh?
Yeah, Sarah Bond, just.
Satya's favorite and most expensive pet project. But she's also trying to appease fans by showing her love of gaming, calling out her 3 favorites, Halo, Valheim, and GoldenEye 007.
Do you buy this? Just yes or no? Just a quick answer.
No, not the honest. No. I buy it in the sense that those were games that she probably touched upon and she probably played at some point.
Yeah.
However,
It's
I don't
corporate
buy it.
BS. That
Well, I don't buy in the sense that like these are like her favorite games. Like she's a
okay.
hardcore gamer or whatever. Like I don't buy it that way. Like
Uh,
this would be like asking maybe one of my sisters, "Oh, what are your favorite games?" And she could probably say like, "Oh, well, Tekken was good, Grand Theft Auto, and Soul Calibur." Like yeah, it's that kind of answer.
okay, fair enough.
Richie says
One of the first things that was spotlighted in Asha.
Sorry.
Richard says the only way Microsoft grow in anything is by rebranding. No one uses Copilot. Let's call it Office 365. Copilot Office 365 instead. Asha will lose Game Pass subs because once the people who stacked cheaper Game Pass subs finish their reserves, they are gone. They are not paying $30 a month.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I don't know
I think I agree with some of like what Rachie just said. I just don't know what I feel about like I just think, you know what, if you're going to do anything with AI, you need to repackage AI for the gamers, right? You need to make it appealing to the gamers. Like Elon is like, as much as I don't like Elon Musk, and I think he is the definition of scum of the earth, he's smart. He took his AI and he put companions there. And then he made sure that they were sexy, they were attractive, they were appealing to the average nerd that would likely interact with AI. I don't know why Microsoft does not have a hot version of Cortana that you can, co-pilot for Xbox. You can interact with her, and then she'll say all the things that you want to hear, blah blah blah, all that type of stuff. Like I just think that's just more creative marketing of AI and pack. You need to brand it for the people that you're making it for. But at this point, it just feels like something that's being forced. The moment it says Copilot, it just feels like something that's being forced down your throat. Do you think I'm wrong?
I don't use Copilot that much, and I don't know why people hate it in a sense. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like Copilot is just there. It's a tab, and I can just use it whenever I want to use it. So I haven't been forced to use it. So I don't really get where people have. I mean, maybe there's an update. Maybe I'm using an old PC.
Yeah, well,
I have no idea.
So it's integrated almost as part of every part of Windows. But I'm saying, have you used? I don't know if I don't think companions are available.
But like everybody uses everybody who probably hates Copilot uses ChatGPT. They use AI.
Yeah, they use AI, but like people still hate it and call it AI slop. Generally, the sentiment towards AI is negative. I'm speaking specifically about gamers. But I just want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you used the word escapes me now. Have you used Grog's companions?
No, I haven't used that. I think they're really
so they're not available, unfortunately, on what's this? They're not available on Android. You need to have an Apple device, and I think you can also use them on the web. So the one is a sexy anime girl. The other one is a good-looking anime dude. And then you have a bear that is very cute and cuddly for the kids. And then you have a bear that is cute and cuddly, but he also swears and says a lot of profane things. You do see like what he's trying to do there. He's making sure that he's getting the lowest common denominator things where people can actually use this thing for, for day-to-day just entertainment and that type of thing. I'm saying I don't see why you can't incorporate something like this for gamers. Instead of calling it Copilot, just like you used to have with the Connect, have Cortana, right? Cortana, whatever. I don't know what you call it. Have people customize their own Cortana that is either going to be professional or have different personalities depending on the person or the users and what they want to see from that Cortana. I think making that AI that accessible to the audience that you're targeting will get you better results. That's how he's gotten traction amongst iPhone users, because iPhone users can either do that or they can use ChatGPT.
Yeah, no, I think that could work out. I mean, I'm guessing, how would you do that for the Xbox device then? Like, how would you incorporate that?
Yep. They haven't.
And to be clear, the question is obviously going to take us away from Colt's video because I think it might be.
just to be short, right? I'll be short about it. Like, because you do you think that they're going to incorporate AI going forward? Maybe not in this. I mean, like, it'll just literally, if they decided to do, because they're starting to do it. I think it's in beta with some people, where you have AI integrated into your Xbox ecosystem, where it helps you with games, gives you tips while you're playing games. I've not seen this, but I've heard this talk. Have you heard similar rumblings?
No, no, I actually haven't. That's really interesting. And now
So
I think I'm glad
basically,
to see your vision. Go on,
yeah.
keep going.
So basically, let's say you get stuck on a boss. Your customized Cortana will pop up and say, "Hey, Tai, I see you fought this guy 253 times in Expedition 33. Do you want me to help you out?"
Mm-hmm.
Remember, back in the day, on the original Xbox One, you had Copilot. Ironically, it was called Copilot, where a person could use a controller to control the same character that you're controlling with player one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Cortana says, "Oh, let me help you out." So she can either take partial control of what you're doing, give you strategies to help you with, the game and accomplish the tasks or complete whatever you're trying to do, or refer you to resources or whatever, or tell you what the alternative parts are. But she's literally like sitting on your couch, inverted commas, and she's playing the game with you.
You know what? I think you've kind of opened my eyes to something very. I think that's a very cool feature.
Hmm?
No, I agree. I think that would set it apart. And I think if
Probably,
you then somehow incorporate that into like the app on your phone,
yes.
and now it's not just games, but this AI is now part of like your regular AI, but it also is involved in your video games, on your video game history. And obviously, this would be like privacy laws, right? So you can tell it like, hey, I give you permission to watch my gameplay and listen to me, talk to my friends online and play games with them. And maybe you can then start having co-op games, right? So instead of split fiction with somebody else, it's you and your AI companion, and they're talking to you as you're playing the game. And it develops, you know what?
Yeah. And now,
Like,
this
no,
can go
because
further. Can go down
what you've done here is actually quite interesting, because when I thought about her, and I was like, okay, she's gonna be innovative. She's here to bring something new to the table. I couldn't think about what she could do with AI. What I actually thought about was maybe Xbox might want to make some AI Roblox, like, because Roblox is a platform where you can make games. So maybe Xbox wants to make a kind of Roblox Dreams kind of video game that's AI very heavy, and they want the kids to get into that because apparently because the kids love Roblox, because it allows you to create. That's what I was thinking. I couldn't think of anything beyond that, but what you've just said makes 100% perfect sense as a feature. Like, the possibility is actually really good. Now, I don't know if that's going to sell a device. However,
but
I think what's important here is marketing and virality. Because even with Elon Musk's AI, I didn't think I wasn't going to use it, but I saw it everywhere. Everyone's, oh, it's sexy, it's this, it's anime. It's like, so I think you're right. I can see this right now. Instead of playing with your friends, play with your AI and your friends.
Exactly.
You know what?
So
you
now,
got me.
On top of this, Tai, like, since you're a big fighting game fan, she can have matches against you. She learns from your gameplay. So everything that you're playing, everything that's attached to your profile, right? Let's say you have your Xbox profile. She learns. She knows what your achievements are. She knows what your library is. She knows what the last games you've played are. She's studying your gameplay patterns. So if you don't have people, like, for instance, to play with online, she'll have a race against you. And if you don't want to race, or maybe you don't have time, and this is all stuff that's been done incrementally in the past, you want her to go and race for you, she can do that. To the point that it extends to the point, like, where she can even say, okay, cool, Tai, last time we played this much of this game and we were here. Do you want to pick up the same way that your AI always, like, Yeah. So we had this conversation last time. Do you want to pick it up from there? Like whenever I'm writing and I'm using AI, whenever I prompt and I say, okay, cool, I want to go back to the story, and this is specifically with the companions. And I said, okay, cool. So we were talking about like building a fantasy world based on this and this with Vikings and this and this and this and this. I want to pick up from there. And she'd be like, great. Here's some ideas that we can expand on. So same thing with your library. Okay, so Taye, on Expedition 33, we were stuck on this and this boss. I found some tips that can help us through, or we can continue with that other Japan anime game that you like to play. What is it called? The one that you finished. Whatever. But like, yeah, we can continue with that, or we can play this and this and this. But she knows your library. She's that person that's willing to talk to you about your games. I don't see how that does not catch on with gamers, and gamers start using that almost every day. Quote me on this. I've got this recorded. If she's smart and she looks like she's smart and she knows exactly what she's doing, she will capitalize on that, and she will make sure that every gamer, whatever AI companion they decide to go with, loves it. If
It's
you
gonna
can
it's gonna be
buy
from a marketing just because gamers are gamers and people hate AI, it's gonna get attacked straight away, and there's gonna be a lot of doom and gloom and they're trying to copy and steal your content. The only way you can kind of subsidize that kind of or like mitigate that kind of damage is by doing probably what Elon Musk did, which is like, well, she's sexy. There you go.
yes,
You know what I mean?
you can design your Cortana.
Yeah,
You
exactly,
design
yeah.
her the way that you want her to look.
The designer, and also tell them like, hey, listen, it's completely optional. Like, I mean, so you can hate it if you want, but like, it's optional. So
That's
why are you
like with
crying about it?
companions.
Okay, you've you've sold me on this. Okay, good. I never thought about it.
Anyways, let's finish this here. But like, yeah. So guys, I want to know what you think. Rachel, what do you think of this idea? Okay, let's finish what Colt has to say. Colt Eastwood.
His new public-facing image is the words, quote, "Hear you," when an Xbox fan expressed that exclusives are important to the Xbox brand. Xbox gave up on exclusivity at a time when they were churning out 6 to 12 games per year, and their failure to sell consoles would ultimately bankrupt the Xbox division if they restricted their $200 million games to just 30 million console owners. Unfortunately, many of Xbox's biggest games fail to reach meteoric sales or player numbers, and in turn, does not drive massive Game Pass growth, even with PC consumers involved. Coming back to exclusivity would kill the Xbox brand.
Hold it.
Asha's first job, before satisfying shareholders and Microsoft leadership.
Let me know.
Do
Do
you
you want
believe
to? Do you want us to be interjecting, or you want to just finish the whole?
Yeah, no, let's interject because of course, like we also want to be fair use. We don't want to just play his stuff.
Everything he said right there is 100% correct.
You agree with him that if going back to exclusivity would kill. Where's Taye now? Did we lose Taye? Taye! Okay, I think we lost Taye. I'll wait for him to join or rejoin. But so what the point that Taye is making, I tend to agree to a certain degree that I like, again, you can't do full exclusivity, but I think you can do exclusive game. Like, I don't think the PlayStation audience is necessarily interested in Gears. Excuse me, we've seen this. There's evidence to show this. I don't think they're interested in Halo. Excuse me. I think you have to give them Forza, dude. Like, you've let the Forza thing out, and Forza successful on that platform. So you have to give them Forza. I don't see anything wrong with that. Starfield, I think at this point in time, just keep Starfield on Xbox. I don't think it will hurt Xbox in any way. But you can give them all the games that are associated with Activision Bethesda. I don't see anything wrong with that. Let me just see what's happening with Ty. This man just hit a disappearing. No, he got kicked. Nope. Raichi, just blink twice if I'm still on, because I don't think I'm. No, I don't think I got kicked. Okay, here he is. I don't know what happened, like, Ty.
Yeah, I think it might have been my
But
net.
okay,
It
cool,
got me
yeah?
kicked anyway. Yeah, but all good.
Yeah,
As I
go
was
ahead.
saying, yeah, Colt is completely right. This was the equation that, I think I've said to you many times that the games were not selling. Like there was nothing else for them to do. The devices
Mhm.
were not selling, so therefore they had to pivot. It is what it is. There was no go. There was no They had to find the revenue from somewhere, and this would have never happened if the PC base was growing, if Game Pass was growing, and if the
Yeah.
consoles were selling. But as soon as all those targets weren't being met, at that point, Satcher was like, "Yo, listen, where my margins at?" And that's why
Uh-huh.
they had to go and get the margins from other places.
Okay, so all right. Now, do you think that putting Halo Gears will make a significant difference to Xbox putting those games on PlayStation?
Margin wise, yeah, those games will sell more for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it would be. Yeah,
So
oh no,
so
100%.
so I don't know what your thoughts are, because I know you're saying you got thoughts on Game Pass. If Game Pass was to or became super premium,
Hmm.
do you think exclusives would not matter in refocusing on console, as they say?
What do you mean if Game Pass was to go away?
Well, I mean, you said something about like, well, it's going to affect Game Pass. So there's going to be some significant change in the future to Game
Oh
Pass.
yes, yeah. So here's the thing. Game Pass is not her brainchild, right? If you're coming into the gaming space like this, consoles make sense. That's just what it is. That is how you get people onto your platform. You have to reach the users who don't want to use a PC,
Mhm.
so you do that via you do that via console, right? The PC is the
Mhm.
PC. It's always going to be there, right? So therefore, you can just stop the PC storefront. That doesn't make sense. Microsoft's never going to allow that. You have users
Yeah.
there. It's the easiest way to access these people. Cloud
Mhm.
is Azure, Microsoft. It's there. I don't see them getting rid of that from a future perspective, simply
Yeah.
because it is one of their unique selling points. Like it's something that they can actually leverage for the future. The Game Pass question is a little bit different because out of all those ones, it's not a pillar in itself. It's just a service, right? And because
Yeah.
it's a service, you can end that service. And
Okay.
Game Pass is not her brainchild. She didn't sign off on Game Pass. It's not something that she wanted to do. So we don't know how she feels about that, about Game Pass. And I don't think she might
Who's
think it's
this?
worth it. Asha.
Sarah or
No, Asha.
Asha?
She might not feel
Asha.
that Game Pass is worth it. And she might feel like the trade-offs are not worth it either. She might actually prefer the traditional. She might actually prefer the traditional sales model.
There we go. Okay, cool. We'll pick up. This is starting to get spicy. We'll pick this up later. Let's finish what my boy, friend of the chat, I know, Colt Eastwood has to say.
Is to listen to the fans and find out what has stripped away the core soul of the Xbox brand that once made it so popular. Thomas Mahler, a longtime partner with Xbox Game Studios and behind the Ori games, said, quote, "First off, I don't envy Asha. She's going to have an incredibly difficult few years ahead of her. And if she genuinely wants to do things right, she just signed up for a backbreaking, largely thankless job where the odds of success are ridiculously lower than the odds of failure. But let's start with the business tactics," he says. From a purely cold-hearted shareholder's perspective, it's fair to ask this point why Microsoft as a public company is even keeping Xbox on the books. As much as we gaming enthusiasts grew up loving what Xbox brought to the table, Microsoft is a giant corporation, and Xbox has historically never been a true needle mover for Microsoft as a whole.
Yeah, hold on.
Thomas continues, "I'd argue that if you only follow the numbers without understanding how you arrived at..."
Yeah.
From a purely cold-hearted shareholder perspective, it's fair to ask this point why Microsoft, as a public company, is even keeping Xbox on the books. I mean, it's making money, right? Is that the easiest answer?
Yeah, like it is. Like for me, like all this is like it needs so many qualifiers, Ty, because okay, what is he talking about? Is he talking about historical Microsoft, or is he talking about Microsoft
But like,
post
but even like I
Activision
see,
deal?
I understand that to an extent, right? But like somebody said this to me yesterday that let's not forget, Microsoft is a software company, and I never
Yeah,
understood what this means. Like, how's that relevant to anything? Like, what you can
uh,
say is
mm,
because they're soft. Sorry, go ahead.
no, like I don't have anything to contribute to what you're saying. There's a video that I'm actually thinking of that I was just watching that addresses your point as to why people always say that Microsoft was always trepidatious about software, and it's that Power On documentary. I'll play a clip from that when we get to that, please, because I'm gonna forget. We're gonna run out of time. Bookmark that. I don't know how you're gonna do that. That exact talking point about why Microsoft would not want to do this
Got that.
or have a console, because I think you're talking about Microsoft pursuing hardware now specifically.
Yeah, sure.
I've got another video here from the Power On story, just in the beginning of that Xbox documentary. I can't wait for the sequel, Power On Part 2. This time, instead of Sarah Bond, it will be presented by Asha Sharma. Okay, but park that point, please,
Yeah,
because there is a point that addresses that, and even like what Seamus Blackley said, because I saw a lot of what he said. I didn't read the whole thing, and I thought, to me, which made sense, is that he's basically saying, well, they're going to sunset the hardware part of Microsoft, and they're just going to keep the publishing. They won't get rid of Activision, obviously. That just would be stupid. They might get rid of parts of Activision that they don't need, but they won't get rid of Activision. That's just dumb. Then why did you buy 89? What did you pay 69 billion for? But okay, let's continue. Let us proceed.
Those, you don't really understand business. Xbox has spent years following a strategy that just clearly hasn't worked. $80 billion were spent on acquisitions, and so far the acquired studios have had painfully little to show in terms of genre-defining hits. Game Pass was supposed to reach 100 million subscribers
I'll
within
stop there and I say that is false. That's not true. I mean, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 did fantastic. Like, this is the only year, or this is the only quarter where they underperform. Correct? I'm correct in saying that, right?
No, I agree with Colt overall. I think we can nitpick, but I think I understand the
No,
general.
you're talking about Xbox Studios' games, which have always sucked.
No,
I'm saying
everything.
You think Activision's games outside this first quarter have underperformed?
No, not underperformed. No, not underperformed in that sense.
This is the only quarter since they bought Activision.
Yeah.
Where,
So let me I guess let me qualify that a little bit.
yeah.
When you look at the purchase, and I think when you look at the growth margins they thought that purchase would give them, I think that's what the problem is. So for example, yeah, you buy Minecraft for like 2 billion. Now it's worth like what, 30 billion?
Yeah.
You buy Bethesda and you're expecting Starfield to be the next Spider-Man and sell 20 million copies and bring in 10 million Game Pass players. It doesn't do that. So you're expecting Doom to be amazing. It doesn't do that. Right? Hi-Fi Rush doesn't do that.
What about? Okay. I
So
hear you,
and
but like,
then you go to
focusing
ABK.
specifically-
Go on.
Like I hear Bethesda and all that other stuff at the back. Like I've got opinions about that. I'm talking about specifically the purchase of Activision Blizzard.
I think if you look
Am
at
I
the purchase
correct
of
of saying that acquisition has paid off up until this quarter where they released Black Ops 7?
I don't think so.
Okay, can you qualify that?
Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one for me to qualify. I need to think a little bit more about it.
Okay,
But like,
no.
I'll take a stab at it overall. I think when they purchased Activision Blizzard King, there was a few things that were supposed to happen. One, they felt they were going to be in a specific position already. Because they went to that position, that's the first problem, right? The second problem, I think, is they thought Activision Blizzard King would spearhead Game Pass even more, and even to some extent, maybe drive more users to their platform.
Okay.
And I don't think it's done. I don't think it's done that either.
No, I agree with you there. So
and finally, remember, this part is important. ABK was also important for King. It was the mobile play. The question I think we should ask is, Xbox was talking about the mobile store. The mobile store it hasn't happened. That's number one. And number two, it seems like they were hoping to leverage King's expertise in making mobile games. Now, how many mobile games have they? I mean, right now we can see that they're releasing. I think it's called Cash Crown or something like that. Some game from Blizzard, Overwatch, the Overwatch world, universe. However, that's just one. So you haven't used King's expertise as much. Call of Duty is still doing what Call of Duty normally does, probably. And overall, ABK is still functioning as just like a regular ABK, but it hasn't really done much for the Xbox ecosystem as a whole.
I can't really disagree with that, but what I will say, and again,
let me actually maybe flip it a little bit. Like, if you were to, like, let's say some random person bought, let's say Sony didn't own God of War, and then they purchased God of War, like, back in like the 2010s, and then Cory Barlog goes on to make God of War 2017, and that sells 20 million units. There is a direct correlation or causation between that purchase and PlayStation sales going up and having an established IP that you can say, oh wow, like we purchased this for like 100 million or 200 million, whatever it is. Now it's worth like $1 billion plus in franchise. Like, I think God of War made them $1 billion, and I think with ABK it's a bit harder for them to actually find out what that margin is.
Okay, no, I hear you. So I just want to address some of the stuff that like Reichi has contributed here. So Reichi says Razer knew what they were doing with the AI girlfriend. Sorry, AI girlfriends will make money. So you said Razer. So does Razer also produce one of these social AI girlfriends like X on Apple devices? I know that like Elon said that will eventually come to Android, but I also own an Android and I've not seen that. I would be interested to know. And I'd be interested to see how far they've taken that technology, like a Cortana, the hot chick for that. And there's another one that he said. Ratio also said Copilot wouldn't get the hate if it was an app. Copilot is Windows, and that's the problem. It's like and this is the biggest issue. Most with all the technical, I'm sure you've heard, Taya, of the issues that people have been experiencing with Copilot, not Copilot, with Windows 11, because they made so many things dependent on Copilot that it started to create problems.
No, right. I agree. Yeah, you said everyone doesn't like Windows.
So he says, block the note app. The block note app now is an AI agent who sends whatever you write to their machine learning. So I think like there's a lot of things. Like, for me, any technology will be appealing if you market it correctly to the people. And the problem with all these guys is that they're not very good at this, and I don't understand why. Because maybe it's because they're not creatives, and I think it's because it's Satya, and I wonder who Satya is approaching to sell this. Like, I would approach the same guy. I would talk to the guys that. Never mind. I was gonna suggest a very specific set of people that make internet content, but I would talk to the people. Actually, that's not. Let me not beat around the bush. The people that produce or that oversee people that produce, like, for instance, OnlyFans content. That content gets so much ridiculous engagement. What is it that those, because again, this is just business. What is it that those people are doing to get that segment of the of the market interested in these experiences? You can reproduce that with AI, and you can customize it for the individual, and you can make it attractive to the person that wants that experience. And I think the way that they're looking at it is very, very suits and tie corporate, and this is why it's being rejected. It's not appealing. It's not attractive. It's not rock and roll. It's not hip hop. It's not whatever. ... It's not sexy. That's all. I just wanted to respond to that, Reichi, because I thought you raised some very interesting point as to how people or why people adopt technology. It's 9 out of 10 times not because it's practical. The internet didn't take off because it was practical. There's a specific reason why the internet became as popular as it is, and a lot of it had nothing to do with its practical implications. It had more to do with entertainment. But okay, cool. Sorry, Ty. Go back. I'll hand back to you. And what were you saying?
Well, I don't think you're asking me a question, were you? No, I
No,
think
no, I didn't ask you a
you're
question.
talking about Seamus
You
Blackley.
wanted to finish.
Were you asking me a question
No. I'm not asking a question. Like, is there anything that you wanted to add to like this, like in terms of like what Rachel was saying?
about the AI companions or Copilot?
Yes, AI companions extending to Copilot.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did a quick Google search about the AI companion stuff. It's basically an AI in a jar. So it's like a C2 jar that's on your desk, and then you just place it there, and then the AI is just like there, and you can talk to it. So think about it
Wow.
like I guess think about it like Elon's AI, except there's a jar, and that AI is in the jar. That's it.
What?
Yeah,
What
it's
sort of
basically
jar?
it's like a glass jar, like a cylinder.
Like like Tinkerbell in Peter Pan.
Hold on, wait. Can you see?
I can see something. Oh, okay, cool. But is it an actual physical jar or is it a virtual jar?
It's a glass jar that's probably like it's probably
Oh,
glass, right? So
wow.
it's a screen probably, right?
Oh,
And then
wow.
they
Okay, that's
just
interesting. I'll research. I'll look into that. I'm
yeah.
interested. Okay, cool. So let's finish. Let's finish off with cold. I'll actually.
Yo, what's up? What's going on?
Yep. Ty.
Yeah, I'm here. Is the video playing?
Oh, is it not playing on your side?
No.
Oh, snap! Sorry, my bad. My bad. My bad.
Yeah, I don't think Richie can get it too.
Let me rewind. Yeah, that's that one. Oh, there it is. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. I think we should be good.
Those you don't really understand business. Xbox has spent years following a strategy that just clearly hasn't worked. $80 billion were spent on acquisitions, and so far the acquired studios have had painfully little to show in terms of genre-defining hits. Game Pass was supposed to reach 100 million subscribers within the first few years. Instead, it stagnated to around 30 million, with no clear path to the originally projected numbers. Putting Call of Duty into Game Pass was probably the last major Hail Mary, and even that didn't fundamentally move the needle. So the situation looks pretty dire. It looks like you've just named the captain of a sinking ship. But even in that situation, Thomas explains, there is a silver lining, and history shows what the strategy has to be. Number one, she needs to listen to the gamers. Gamers are incredibly frustrated because they've been shouting from the rooftops what they want, and they feel like no one is listening. So listen and actually give them what they want. Number two, she needs to be willing to make radical moves, even if they make her unpopular in the short term. When the internal studios fail to deliver, some heads will have to roll. Leadership has to come in, identify who can actually execute and who is standing in the way of change. Those who aren't willing to change have to get the boot. Uncomfortable, but necessary. Thomas is talking about Xbox having over 28 of their own internal studios and publishers. And if any of those fail to deliver popular and high revenue growing games, Asha needs to either look at closing a couple of studios or more likely fold those studios into working on tried and true franchises. Thomas explains
Agreed.
that she shouldn't try to win a culture war. She should try to make Xbox the #1 gaming platform. Competition is healthy and makes everyone give their best. What Thomas is describing is that Xbox
I think that's what you were talking to in terms of virtue signaling games like South of Midnight. She should focus on making games that are cool instead of games that have a message. Do you agree?
Well, I mean, there's not even games that have a message. To be honest,
Message.
Games and messages are perfectly fine. They're great, but they just need to be popular games. That's just it. You need to make a good game. You can make a game that has any kind of message that you want, but in the message that you're trying to even do, I mean, I don't want to say message. I think that's not really the right way to say it, but in the game you're trying to make, does it excel at what you're trying to do? When you make a game like an Avowed, is it excelling in what it's supposed to do? AKA, does it look like a Baldur's Gate 3? Is the first person action part really fun and enjoyable? The gameplay great? Is the artistic style grabbing people's attention? And tick all these boxes. So when you put out Avowed, it's in the 92, 93 Metacritic rating. It shouldn't be in the 80s. That's just the problem.
Okay, I feel you. I agree with you that you can have a message in a game, but if you package it correctly, it will
Can't necessarily overtake PlayStation, but really has all of the pieces in order to become one of the most popular and value and variety-driven gaming platforms. They're available on PC, Game Pass, mobile devices, smart TVs, and they arguably have the best scope of gaming studios that are making a huge variety of games, from big open-world RPGs, first-person shooters, action-adventure titles, and so many unique games from a huge wealth of studios. Thomas explains number 3, no shortcuts. She has to be able to identify and obsess over quality. This is something that PlayStation has done so well. Their level of quality QA and QC, looking at games and stopping them before they...
This I agree. I don't understand why Xbox's QA is so poor. I for the life of me, it's like when these games come out, nobody played them to sort of fucking pick up on the fact, Jesus fuck. There's a load screen every time you open a door in Starfield. Maybe that's not a freaking good gameplay mechanic that people are gonna respond to positively. I don't understand. It's so silly to me, such basic shit.
Yeah, I agree.
They're released to make sure they do the absolute best they can once they release. Xbox will truly need exceptional.
Hey, look who
Sorry
woke
for
up.
being late.
Welcome. Look,
Yo, today was a hell of a fucking day, bro.
No problem.
Listen, without giving too much context, and this is going to trigger some people. Yes, this is a shithole. Let's continue.
Okay, look, thank you. We don't even know where you are. Are you in the United States?
He's got jokes. He's got tons of jokes.
So, look, just to give you perspective as to where we are. So we're just watching a video to just sort of introduce some of the topics around Xbox, Asha Sharma,
Is that cold?
and what her vision is for Xbox going forward. And of course, this is all according to what Colt Eastwood's perspective is, but he's using a lot of data and information from from industry experts, pundits, etc. So we're just talking through it. Please, I'll stop it at certain points.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with fanboy.
No.
All right, let's go.
Let's continue.
Genre-defining games. Anything less than that and the ship continues to sink. That has to mean partnering with studios that are deeply connected to gaming culture. Studios that understand players. Studios that have proven they can deliver what gamers actually want. Xbox can't afford to be left out of the conversation anymore because clearly the answers haven't been coming from the inside for quite some time. Here Thomas is referring to what Phil Spencer has been trying to do for many years. And he says to close, ultimately, change is good. Xbox now has a chance to flip the table, and they'll have to. If Asha wants to do things right, it's going to be a pretty crappy job for quite some time, but it can be done, and if she has the right instincts and can rally the right people around her. Whether she is, that person remains to be seen. And whether you like Xbox or not, gaming is in a better place with a strong Xbox directly competing against everyone else. Thomas Mahler makes some really great points. The decision has already been made to put Xbox games on PlayStation, and Xbox has over 40 games in the works, with the next generation hardware plan, according to trusted insiders, at the point of no return. So what is left to fix, change, or destroy? Asha's marching orders are already in place. The most volatile asset of Xbox right now is Game Pass. It's a 30 million subscriber steady and clears just over $1 billion in profit annually. But Call of Duty is losing formally guaranteed revenue in Game Pass, and Asha would be wise to remove it from Game Pass day and date, delaying it 3 to 6 months to boost sales. Game Pass has conditioned Xbox consumers to not buy games, and Xbox
And then this is, again, we get back to this point in terms of like, can you do both? Can you sell consoles without exclusives? Especially if you're Xbox, you already have a very weak exclusive lineup anyway. And this is what I'm trying to understand here. If Game Pass is no longer the thing that you're selling, how are you going to stay true to that second statement that she made of bringing people back to Xbox? Sense? Gentlemen? Taye? Loke?
Ushers.
Yo.
Everyone is assuming that she's telling the truth.
Yes. Elaborate.
I think that's where the first statement. This is the first mistake we all make, sitting here and taking everything an exec says at face value. When has that ever worked out for anyone? Anyone.
So you don't believe she needs more people? To quote Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
I think the entire premise of sitting there and taking, I don't know, you probably heard me come in and it was like he tagged out, like you're tagging out.
I'm gonna ask you now what happened to you. So you don't think she's you don't
so what
believe
I
what
would say is exactly right.
Yeah, okay.
No.
All right.
Again, I'm saying, when has this ever worked out for anyone? Believing verbatim everything that an exec says or a CEO says about where they're going. I'm not sorry, man. I'm not down. I'm not down. I think that's where the first flaw in this entire thing begins. It's not even about, oh, what did she say? It's like, all right, and why do you think she's now the first exec in the history of execs that's telling the truth, nothing but the truth? So help me God.
No, even Spencer lied.
They all lied. She's telling the truth.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They all lied, dude. I don't care whether it's Nintendo. I don't care whether it's PlayStation. I don't care, bro.
So you don't think anything's gonna change
if it's outside of gaming, bro? I think something will definitely change. I'm just not looking at
for
the statements
gamers
of this exec verbatim. For gamers, no, things will definitely change, but change can mean, Xbox being sunsetted, or sunset. Sorry,
what happened to Taye?
That still fits the definition of change technically. Hey, Richie, yes, I am tired of the lies of the Jedi. It's all lies, all of it. It's all lies. If you pay attention, if you watch the graph, it's always been lies. Now we're supposed to sit here and say, no, she's different. Nope.
Okay.
My favorite statement is past performance. My favorite statement is past performance informs future results. Okay, the past performance tells that 9 out of 10 of the things that they say, whether it's with their incoming execs or their incumbent, 9 out of 10 of what they say is bullshit.
Okay.
Asha, she's going to invert the whole thing. Now 9 out of 10 of what she says is true. All right, buddy. Sure. I have a bridge in Mozambique to sell you.
Okay.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, all good. So I was saying, so Loke doesn't believe what she's saying, because what I was asking basically is that if you're saying to me that Game Pass or putting games like Call of Duty is not working, is not growing Game Pass, and Game Pass is technically no longer your strategy going forward. How are you? So what are you? What is your value proposition to bring Xbox back? What is it that you're going to change that's going to make an Orshus, who was a hardcore Xbox guy, come back to Xbox?
Are you asking me, or do you have an answer for that yourself?
Luke has already said that he doesn't believe her.
Like, it doesn't mean that she can bring people back, or she's trying. Like, which one is it?
Give me your breakdown. Do you think she's trying? Do you believe her that she's going to try? And what is it that she's going to try to bring people back?
So here's what I think. She's somebody who has expertise in user acquisition, as we all know. Now the question is, what kind of user are you trying to acquire, though? Are you trying to acquire any type of user to then grow the fan base? To grow the ecosystem, or are you looking to actually grab users like an Ushers, like Loke, like Ty, and the guys from PlayStation and Nintendo in the process as well? I'm not too sure which strategy she's going to go for. For example, you could say from a different point of view, by Microsoft acquiring Minecraft, which is something that you didn't probably want, they acquired users and they grew that platform. Same thing for Roblox, same thing for Fortnite. So what kind of users is she really trying to go for? Now, from what I can see, it seems like she wants this kind of users. She probably wants everybody, right? So the question is, how does she attract? Go on.
Her statement was, and she focused on this several times, she specifically stated that she wants core users. She wants to bring the hardcore users that have been using Xbox for the last 25 years. She wants to bring them back as she's bringing Xbox back. So she's saying, Orshus, how long have you been? I've not even been there for 25 years, maybe 20 years. I've been an Xbox guy. She's saying, we want you back. She's been blatant about this statement, about the fact that we want to bring Xbox back and we want to bring our core audience back, or we want to make sure that we take care of our core audience. How do you do that? There's one simple way we know how to do it. So if we're saying we're doing away with exclusives and exclusives are no longer part of the conversation, how do you bring Orshus back? How do you bring core whatever gamer back that is no longer interested in Xbox hardware per se? How do you get that person to be interested in your console? And now you're saying that also, and again, we don't know what's going to happen to Game Pass. We're just speculating at this point in time. But you're now saying that you've realized that you can't do that through Game Pass.
So you're asking me the question now. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just I want your take. You don't have to make it long. Just make it quick. Do you think she can do it? Yes or no? Let me simplify.
You're not gonna like this answer because I feel like I've given you this answer before. A lot of the time, it's not about it's like, okay, how do you define success? Well, sometimes success is just to stop the bleeding, or success is to make the best situation from a crappy situation. So success for her or for Microsoft really just could be maintain what we have because we're bleeding it, and then let's grow it slowly from there. That literally could be it. How would she bring back users? It depends on what levers you want to pull from. If you're taking away exclusives,
levers. What is this, Barcelona?
levers, whichever one you want to call it. Yeah. If you're taking away first party titles, I think what's important here is because I don't know if she said it in the video you're playing, but she said it's not off the table, right?
Yes, no, she did say it's not off the table. So okay, so I hear what you're saying, because the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this isn't a messaging. If she just continued to say, no, we will continue to focus on play anyway, but the whole focus of this whole thing, if I look at this whole 3-day celebration that they've been having there over at Xbox, it's been focused on saying we're going back, we're finding our way again. We lost our way with you, core gamers. We're coming back to you. We're celebrating this renewed vigor we have and enthusiasm of pleasing you. How? Like they haven't said how, but they've been saying it, and she's reiterated several single times that console is our core focus and our console gamer audience is our core focus. So now we do away with this wishy-washy, everything is an Xbox BS. Now you need to sell consoles because you're saying console is important to us.
Well, I'll say this, Shay, it's a very easy layup to do, right? And I think people shouldn't look too deep into the console part of it because the console is already in the process of being made, right? So she's not doing anything new. It's not like the console was scrapped and then she came in and goes, "No, we're doing console." It was already there, and so I don't take that as a W. It's just her saying like, "Oh, the console's we'll go back to the console." It's like, okay, but the console's already coming out. Now, I think what you can see here is that the marketing behind the console though will be very different. And I think Xbox's marketing overall as a whole will be different. I think so I'll give you an example. You need to roll back the disrespect. So first of all, the first thing she did was say consoles are important. That's number one. She said the history is important, going back to the console, right? So that's good. Then she says, all you guys who spend thousands and thousands on the ecosystem, I acknowledge you. I sent you the screenshot of the guy who was all like, "Oh, this is good." Like, yeah, I was that fan. I acknowledge you. That's good as well. Something else that I think might be important here is the marketing is also gone. So I don't think you're going to see this. This is the Xbox. This is an Xbox. I think go take that away. Then the next thing that I'll say here is this idea of the Indiana Jones situation.
Yeah,
I think things like that should never have happened. I think
where they announced Indiana Jones and then
as a one more thing.
Yeah,
as a one more that's disgraceful. That should never happen. Even a small thing like maybe at the showcase, maybe just maybe they don't show the PlayStation sign anymore. They say no. We're not going to show the PlayStation sign. When these games are multi-platform, you're only going to see the Xbox logo. End of story.
Yeah, yeah. So I hear what you're saying, Ty, but a lot of that seems very superficial to me. It does not move the needle in terms of how people feel. Like I might be like, okay, like they're marketing differently, but that's not gonna make me like. Well, again, this still doesn't go back. It doesn't address the point as to okay, but what's gonna make me buy an Xbox?
Well, that question is a little bit harder. I think this is where we don't really know what they're going to do.
No, that's a good ask. Like, look, you don't.
What I can say here is, I don't think there's anything that they can do to really make you come back. If the idea of a PC hybrid isn't attracting you, then I don't know what else they could do. Like honestly, I should know. Like without exclusives, I don't know what else they could do. Like for example, someone like you, we can make an argument straight up that you don't like PlayStation-like games. So God of War, Horizon, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So a PC hybrid is perfect for someone like you who can also engage with Steam-like games. And if you really wanted to, you could end up playing the PlayStation-like games via Steam anyway. So you are the perfect consumer. So I guess the question that they'll need to ask her is this: is everyone like us, where we actually believe that the device we're making is ideal for him? However, due to the disrespect we've given him, he's not going to want to rock with us no matter what.
Yeah.
For
me, I'm looking I hear what you're saying from a marketing perspective, but what I'm looking at is from an actual value proposition perspective for the consumer, for the potential consumer that you're trying to draw to your console. Look, you can make me feel better about the brand and also, good on Xbox. But I've already committed, for instance, as someone that doesn't play PlayStation or doesn't care about PlayStation games per se. I don't know, and I'm not saying that there is nothing. I'm just saying I'm curious. I don't know what they're going to do, but they've been reiterating this message. I'm curious to see personally what are they going to try and do to get the core gamers who either abandoned Xbox for PlayStation or for PC. What are they gonna get? What are they gonna do to get those people to be interested in Xbox hardware, specifically console, to bring them back to Xbox?
Integrating PC. Integrating PC. That's the only way.
But like, I've already got a. You've already got a PC. Look, are you gonna then go buy another PC that's an Xbox?
Yeah. But my
But like,
PC.
what do you benefit
Yeah,
from
but my
that?
PC
If all those games
is.
are already on PC.
Listen. My PC is not brand new. I put it together maybe 2-3 years ago. Maybe by the time 2028 rolls around, my PC is not as capable with the brand new releases. And I'm looking to upgrade my PC. And the market for PCs is looking crazy right now. You guys seen it, right? Like parts and whatever, it's looking nuts. If Xbox can integrate their console and turn it into a PC as well, that I can play like my GOG games, my Steam games, my Epic games, etc., and it's an Xbox console, and there's not much friction between those two ecosystems, and that costs, let's say, $1,200. I know a lot of people are upset about the potential pricing, but the pricing of like a mid-range PC is around that. Well, no, was around that when I put my PC together. Now we're talking about $2,500 for a mid-range PC. So if Xbox can provide you with a mid to upper upper echelon PC as well, and then it's priced appropriately, I'm down. Because for me, I don't care about platforms, brother. I play video games. I don't play platforms.
So they would have you. I just want to understand the conditions.
Me as a PC gamer, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
They would have me if they gave me the equivalent in terms of power. If they gave me the equivalent of what I got 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if they can give me the equivalent of that in 2028, 2029, and then price it below 1,500, and the PC equivalent, right, of me just going and trying to put it together myself is significantly above that, I'm down to get the next Xbox.
Okay, so what it would take for you, and again, there's no wrong or right answer. It's just the answer that you like, as a I don't think you're really an Xbox guy, but as a guy that played Xbox, what would get you onto their ecosystem would be if they gave you an Xbox equivalent PC hybrid. So a PC equivalent Xbox hybrid, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. That's a fair answer. There's nothing wrong with that answer. So they would get people that are in your situation. But for me,
but I think the unique selling point here is because is like Richie says it just there. He says the PCs for the desk, the Xbox PCs for the TV. And I think what you've done here sometimes is and I know it's blurry, it can be blurry, but if we recognize that these are still separate markets, aka the PC is still for the PC gaming desktop, and the living room is still for the console, and the handheld market is still the handheld, because no matter what way you want to spin it, the ROG Ally or the Steam Deck is a handheld, and that is targeting the handheld markets primarily, right? I think we can all agree there. And a console is targeting the living room, and the desktop, like my desktop is right here to my room, and I play games here, but I still play games in the living room. I still play FIFA. I still play the casual like games. I'll still play Clear Obscure there because I don't want to be on the desk every day. So these are all separate markets. So the attraction point here is you can synergize your desktop with your console, with your handheld, giving you de facto play anywhere default everywhere you go. That is a good selling point, because for me now, if I was to get a PlayStation 6, well, my ecosystem is not unified, right? It's the PSX, it's my desktop on PC, and the handheld would maybe be the ROG Ally. But if I get an Xbox Series X2 that is a hybrid, then everything is everywhere. and everything is unified.
So I don't disagree with you.
I think that's a unique selling point. In fact, like the only thing I would say is, I made this argument before, even to you, that if they go exclusive in combination with their hybrid PC, is such a killer device. Like at that point, and if Sony even
I agree with
that's
you.
the possibility, they're gonna be fearful of that, because now there's a console in the living room that can play our games via Steam. That's a problem.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm in
I don't
complete
think the
agreement.
exclusives are ever coming back. I don't think they're ever coming back. It's over.
I mean, like,
Exclusives,
the thing
it's
is,
done, bro.
they've well,
We're
I mean,
never
that
getting-
is one opinion, but like they've sort of left that door open.
So I do have an argument for the exclusives. Like I think the exclusives can come back, and I think people, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's coming back. Like, let me just say that real clear. However, I do think there's an argument as to how they can bring it back. I do believe there's an argument there. I think the numbers make sense.
We can agree on that. Like, it's possible, but we all know it's not happening. I think we can all agree on that.
For me, the only way that they would actually
It's
get
like
me
that.
back,
It's like that fat girlfriend of yours.
Sorry, go ahead. Luke.
Sorry, my analogy was like, it's like that fat girlfriend of yours. Like, yeah, sure, it's possible for her to lose weight, but she's over 25, and she's been fat since she was 15. Like, if we're making
your
bets
example
here,
is out of order, comrades.
it's probably not gonna happen.
Your example is out of
It's
order.
also true. Notice how you didn't say it's untrue. It's just offensive. My example is just offensive, but it's also true. Yeah, it is possible exclusives
Luke's
can come back, but it's
Luke's
not
example aside.
happening.
So for me, like, I think they would do something.
Why
As
aside?
So like, I don't disagree with you guys, but for me personally, and I think a lot of people that were in my position, like, I'm so intertwined now with Steam. I'm more likely to buy a Steam machine than I am to buy an Xbox, regardless of the price point or features, because of the fact that, like, that's an ecosystem that
Or
I'm
the Steam Deck 2. Or the Steam Deck.
Or a Steam Deck 2, yes. I would definitely buy a Steam Deck 2 over any other Windows-related portable device, because I'm so bought into that ecosystem now. So for me, the only thing that could ever make me consider an Xbox is if they said, you know what, we're going on with full-on exclusives for Xbox. And that is the reason why. Same with Sony. Sony still has, and there's a video actually I saw with Digital Foundry where they were saying that going forward in the future, they can also see Sony backing off a little bit when it comes to putting their single-player games day one on PC, and they cited the reasons. I'll see if I can't find that video. So for me, that's the only way they could get me, is if there's a
They
reason.
cited the reason from a revenue point of view. They said that,
Sorry?
like, they cited the reason from a revenue point of view. They weren't too sure if the money was actually worth it. However, if you did take all the money that they made via even like Horizon and all these games, like that's enough revenue to literally, green light a God of War game, and like they made $2 billion, I believe. Yeah. Was it $2 billion they made, or something like this? Maybe even $1 billion. I mean, a large portion of it was from Helldivers too, for sure. But there's still enough money there for them to say, well, this can greenlight like 4 or 5 games. Like, why would we throw that away for whatever reason?
No, I don't like. Look, if that's the path that Sony chooses, and their audience is okay with that, that's fine. I think Sony has their own.
Well, I mean, screw the audience wouldn't even matter at this point, right? Because at the end of the day, like somebody said this as well, right? Like, oh, this would destroy Sony. I'm like, okay, but where are these PlayStation players gonna go? To Nintendo?
They don't have any place to go. That's the problem.
To Nintendo, to Xbox. Like it's like when Sony increased the price of the PS5 in Japan, and people were saying like, oh, screw Sony. I'm like, okay, but where are you gonna go?
No, they can't go anywhere. Like, they're stuck.
You're stuck.
They're pretty stuck. Like that's the thing. That's why I always say that competition is important. The whole point of having like 2 major or 3 major players in the console space is that if people are not are happy with option A, they can always go to option B or option C. Now we only have option A if you're a console gamer and you're in the console space. There isn't really an alternative currently that has, because if you're willing to buy games, which most core gamers are willing to do so, you can just get a PlayStation. But anyways, let's continue with Colt,
Yeah, sure.
and then let us finish. What happened to Loke now? Loke also got kicked out. I don't know what's
I'm
happening.
here. I'm here.
No,
Can you guys not hear me?
No, we can hear you. Okay, I'm gonna hide. Show on stream. Where's this thing?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Loke, we can hear you.
All right.
Loud,
All right.
clear.
Marketing would have a difficult message if they have to start omitting some of their own AAA games from Game Pass. So it's more likely that the big Xbox first-party games would remain in Game Pass as it has been. And PlayStation consumers would offset the shortfall of Game Pass subscriptions not growing larger on PC and Xbox. Asha Sharma could work leaps and bounds to bring Game Pass to PlayStation. It's not a far-fetched idea, with most titles easily already licensed on the PlayStation, and now that Xbox's own first-party games are already getting PlayStation ports, it's actually a viable and easy sell to get Game Pass on PlayStation.
No.
And PlayStation fans would join Game Pass in force, with likely some 10 to 15 million joining within the first year or so. Game Pass is an incredible value, something not offered even.
Yeah, that's not happening. No way.
That's never gonna happen. Sony will never allow that. Sony's not stupid. This is naive. This is utter naivety. Sony
it's not even just that. It's also just bad on Xbox as well. It just won't be worth
it doesn't bring back the Xbox. It doesn't stay true to the statement that they just made. To me, it just.
I'm even talking about it from a revenue point of view. It doesn't do anything for them, because if you got to think about it this way, Microsoft goes to a developer and says, "Hey, listen, we want your game on Game Pass." That developer looks at it and says, "Okay, 10% of my sales is coming from Xbox, 10% of it is coming from Xbox PC Store. The other 80% is Steam and PlayStation." So you're willing to say, "Okay, fine, put on Game Pass," because we can kind of like work that out. As soon as you put that on PlayStation, well, now that's 50% of your revenue. Exactly. So now the numbers are different. That you're going to ask for way more. And if you ask for way more, Sony takes their cut still, and then Xbox takes a smaller cut. Now it's not even worth it. Like, I think the amount of people that would need to join Game Pass on PlayStation would be so large. And to be honest, apart from Sony not even liking it, because it's going to like eat into their sales a lot, Xbox isn't going to derive that much profit from it. So I can't see it happening. And I think this is why they decided to not, because Gabe was saying that he doesn't mind, working a deal out with Microsoft for Game Pass on Steam. And I always thought that was a good idea, but for some reason it stopped. But why would it stop when Gabe literally said in an interview, "Yeah, I'm willing to do it"? It's because Microsoft probably ran the numbers and they were like, "Nah, this ain't worth it.
It's not viable."
Yeah.
So just to address what Rachel just said, it says PCs for the disc and Xbox PCs for the TV. And that's my problem, Rachel, is that for me, if Xbox PC is for the TV, I'd rather get a Steam machine for the TV, as I've already got a desktop that plays Steam games, and that I prefer that ecosystem versus an Xbox Windows ecosystem, given the choice.
We completely disagree on
that's fine.
What these machines are for. Completely disagree.
Well, I mean, I'm agreeing with what Rachel is saying here in terms of like the PC, and I think Ty, you also agree most with this take in terms of like the PC being for the disc and the Xbox PC being for the TV.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
I mean, that's the same thing that that basically Valve is doing with the Steam Deck. Sorry, not the Steam Deck. The Steam machine is it can do both. It can either be for your disc, but most people are going to use it for the TV. They're also making it user friendly for the TV, so you don't have to have an obnoxiously big PC with a graphics.
To grab users like PC users, I think what she would need to do is something very. Again, I think all this is in motion already, regardless of what she says. Microsoft is investing in its PC front. We know Phil was already merging the ecosystems. We know Phil was investing money with the Xbox team to actually program for the Windows update. So you're going to see huge improvements within the application. And I think because the ecosystems are merged, you're going to have a unified system. You're going to have a unified system, right? We just one team focusing on building that system. So I think the jump between what Steam was back in the day to what we have now, I think what Microsoft is trying to do is they're trying to close that gap extremely fast. And this is one thing I'll say. Forget about exclusives for a second. If you're going to try to court Steam players or any players, one thing I've learned about PC guys is that it's about the ecosystem for them. So before they even look at you, you need to present an application that can either match Steam or surpass it. And I think she's going to focus on that. I think that is how you acquire users. It's one of the main ways you acquire users on the PC side of things.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, if you're watching in the back, we're playing Halo 5, the CG cutscenes. And I always say that regardless of what you think of Halo 5, the production values were 10 times better than Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's production values were, you could tell that they were stitched together last minute. This game, in terms of the actual scope of the story, was very well thought out. The execution was not great, especially for gameplay. It felt rushed. But these cinematics are so fantastic. Love them. But anyways, let's go back to Colt. Nope, not this dude. Where's Colt? Nope. Where's Colt? Welcome in, Vincent Vega. Vincent Vega, glad to have you with us. Let's see if I can find Colt here. Yes, there we go. There.
Though it is one of the most expensive
Oh
subscriptions
yes, please hit the like button and join in the conversation, Vincent.
out there. But Xbox's problem is most subscribers are on the Xbox console, where there are the fewest customers overall. Little may change for the console and hardware side of the Xbox business under Asha Sharma. The Xbox Series consoles will still struggle to sell and be overpriced. This is mainly because Xbox failed to sell enough consoles to reach a profit margin. But the next generation console PC hybrid is in the works for 2027. And Asha has the Herculean effort to truly support the console with hardware and development. Porting process for third-party developers is key. Make the console so ubiquitous and seamless to the PC versions that developers can no longer judge whether it's worth their time to make an Xbox version of their game. Asha needs to make sure that the Xbox utilizes all of its power. It'll be an expensive console and very powerful compared to gaming PCs. She needs to make sure that the software and the tools available to devs are used to make their game shine. But none of this matters if devs skip the Xbox, a problem that happens several times each year, sometimes with a very prominent new popular game totally skipping the Xbox platform. Asha will be working closely with Jason Ronald, the head of Xbox hardware, to create a documentation process that mirrors Steam, quite literally described a porting process that is one and done across Steam PC.
Now I've heard as a person that Colt got me onto back onto Xbox with the Xbox One, and because he makes these awesome videos with these nice thought out little pieces about how the hardware stuff comes together. But in reality, none of this ever comes together well for Microsoft. So Vincent says the future has always been PC. Good evening, person. Turquoise waving. I have no idea what that means. Maybe you guys got that. He also goes on to say, play the Halo Cake Show. No, Vincent, we're not gonna play Master Cheeks here. Master Cheeks is not allowed here, Vincent. He has no power here. So this is all nice in concept, but I wonder how practical this will be, or how this will translate. And again, my question is, they're saying they want to win back Xbox gamers. They're not saying they want to attract gamers from other platforms or bring people. They're saying we're bringing back Xbox and we want the core console users to want to use our console. That is what I would love to hear practically. So Colt is giving some examples here, and he's saying he doesn't believe that that will ever happen. It will ever grow in that way. The only way they can do it is to integrate it directly into PC, which is what they've said that they're doing. Okay, let's continue. We're almost done.
And Xbox, outside of adding Xbox Live and achievement support. Third-party partnerships are equally important, as Asha would work with Matt Booty to strengthen other publishers and keep Xbox in the conversation. It's already starting to happen with Xbox Play Anywhere, that has been stronger this year with big games like Crimson Desert and 007 First Light being included on Xbox console and Xbox PC, an app where most third-party games don't even come at all. The community.
The point you were saying, right? You said that like you've heard all this before, and I think there's some truth there. But one of the things about Asha that I think people have said is that like she's great at execution. So some of these things that Phil said, he probably did say it and he probably did mean it, but the people who were there to execute weren't there. So if Microsoft says, yeah, all these points we've said were actually like a main pillar, like they were important. However, the executioner just wasn't good at doing it. AKA, for example, even Sarah Bond, right? You could say maybe she executed things for some really well, and other things really badly. If they're saying no, well, we're going to bring in somebody who can actually execute and who's known for doing these things, then would you not have more trust? Number one, and number two, I think the fact that they've spent 80 plus billion on video games. This is why everyone I just don't understand people when they say these things. If you're going to spend that much on video games, you want to grow that segment out.
Yeah.
And the question is, well, how do you do that? And you do it by being efficient.
Well, I agree. This is one thing that they've always failed. We've always said that the problem with with Xbox comes down to management. And every single time, there's no amount of money because, we've gone back and we've had these chats before, Taya, about Sony's success. And a huge component of it had to do with having the financial position and the capital to be able to leverage against your competitors. With the capital and the money, Xbox has still not been able to make inroads into any of their competitors' markets, basically. Aside from, of course, the most obvious example being the 360. So Vincent Vega says the next console won't beat my 4090, which is a fair point. Even if it releases in 2035. That is correct. There is no ways that you can pack the power of a full-on PC, even if it's a PC that is a good 15 years older. If it was a last number card, it's very difficult to replicate that on console. That's just a fact. But anyway,
it's a fact. But even I think for anybody who's looking for a 1490 in the living room, I don't listen. Here's one thing I'll say to that. No one's looking to. No one actually is looking to buy that number one for the living room. But number two,
why would you say that though?
No, because let me actually say it this way. If you're going to, the closest thing you're going to get to a 1490 in the living room is an Xbox branded device. Because we know Sony's never going to go towards those kind of levels. Whereas we know because Xbox is at least involved in the OEM push, you could have another a Asus, a Alienware, whatever it is. One of them could actually say, "Oh, let's do this."
Steam Machine Ultra, Ultimate, Extra.
Yeah, that is also possible as well. Yeah, somebody could reach out to Steam and say, "Can we use your branding instead?" I don't think Steam will. Yeah. Maybe they'll say yes to that. I don't think. Yeah, they might actually. Yeah, they might.
They did it before, but it just didn't work. They did try to license it, but they didn't have a baseline sort of Steam machine to sort of get to kickstart. For instance, I'll give you an example. We've talked about this, about the fact that with Steam OS, basically now all the more powerful handhelds can all run Steam OS. So they can do exactly the same thing and say, listen, you can build your own Steam machine. All you need is Steam OS at the center of it. So that I can see happening. So to your point and to substantiate what you're saying, if Steam pursues it, if Xbox takes that approach, yes, I can see that happening. And that will be the closest to having the equivalent of a ridiculously powerful graphics card in your console. Okay, let's continue.
Fans for Xbox has significantly eroded over the past few years, and Asha has a long road ahead of her. With the abandonment of Xbox Fan Fest, XO, and other fan-centered events, and a major step back of the Xbox leadership corresponding with fans has created a major divide. Once Xbox went fully corporate after acquiring Bethesda and Activision and Blizzard, Xbox is about to celebrate their 25th anniversary, and strong rumors point to an in-person, fan-centered event at the end of the year. It seems like Xbox wants to ramp up more events for fans, and Asha needs to be integral and work hard to carve out funding for this act of goodwill and synergy, bringing the Xbox brand forward and getting...
To be honest, I don't give a shit about any of this. This is just for people that that want to mingle with Xbox. Like, I don't think these have been meaningful for me for a while. Like, it's for very specific content creators that are sort of that have this relationship, like Colt, that have this relationship with Xbox. To me, this is just it's not been. I don't know.
I think it drives like hype, for the platform. And I think when you're in last place, you do need that hype if you don't have the games.
Yes, of course.
However, I don't think you need it at least to the level of before. Because I think what you need now is execution. So, like for example, I would say if they did this event right, and they did it obviously off the back of this is 2026. This is Xbox the anniversary. I would say it would make sense if they did it like this, or like just not every year. Do it for this year to kind of introduce the new CEO, and then back off.
Yeah, I agree.
Fans excited. Whether you consider Asha a gamer or not, it doesn't matter. Some of the best gaming CEOs are not gamers themselves. But what's most important is that Asha has to show that she's here to serve the fans and the gaming industry first before she reports to Satya Nadella. Her commitment to growing the Xbox game business that many fans across the media are calling dead. Asha's job should be to put to rest the concerns that the Xbox brand is dead, but is instead growing and moving forward in a changing industry. When she says the future of play, she's talking about the expanding multiple OEM partnered in Xbox's own devices and a handheld coming, and having Xbox first-party games available to millions. Xbox games right now are already good, but they need to be bigger and more popular and drive into the zeitgeist of the year's most popular games. What made the Xbox brand so popular back in the 2000s wasn't the Xbox 360. It was genre-defining popular hit games that everyone was playing. Asha needs to work directly with Matt Booty and Craig Duncan to revitalize those franchises to their former glory and take their latest game projects and make them truly special. It sucks to see Phil Spencer go, a decade-long face of the Xbox brand, but maybe what he couldn't change, with Xbox being at such a difficult point, will power Asha to make major changes and advancements instead of breaking down the brand and pushing everything into AI slop. This is Colt Eastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video.
Okay, so guys, please go check out Colt's video. Colt's channel.
No, just no.
Yeah, so unless you're Loke, but so the guy makes fantastic. I love his production values on his content. And sometimes it's insightful, sometimes it's very polarizing. I used to, especially in the earlier of this generation, I really used to appreciate his content. He was one of my go-to channels next to Dila and the likes of Zalka. Recently I tend to be in disagreement with him. I think a lot of the decisions that he hasn't really questioned in the past in terms of what Xbox has done, I vehemently was against, and I warned against going down that path because I thought it would lead here, and a lot of people disagreed, and it did lead here. Hate to tell, and again, it's pointless to say I told you so. But anyways, please go check out his channel. He produces awesome content that I'm sure you guys will enjoy. But okay, cool. So I think we've anyone that's not into the picture in terms of what's happening with Xbox, the new CEO. The only thing I don't think we've really addressed is Sarah Bond. But anyways, you guys tell me, did I miss anything? So we did speak about. We haven't really gotten into the actual battle for the soul of Xbox. Do you guys believe that what's happening now is an actual battle for Xbox's soul? Do you think this is in question?
When you say soul, do you mean the direction of Xbox?
I would say that the soul of Xbox talks directly to the direction of Xbox. Yes, where they're going and who are they bringing with.
I don't know if I don't know if there's much of a Sorry, my thing went off.
No problem.
I don't know if there's much of a battle going on right now, as opposed to like the war's already over, right? Like, there's no fight. I think the people who are at Xbox or Microsoft who butted heads are all kind of gone now. I think Phil is gone and Sarah's gone. These are probably the two most problematic people within the organization when it comes to change.
Yeah.
But I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that like one side has clearly won, and that's won is at Microsoft. Matt Booty is the reigning champion, and maybe to an extent you could probably say Matt Booty has more W's on the board than Phil and Sarah. To be honest,
he still has his job.
He still has his job. He's got promoted.
He still has his job.
And Booty isn't going for, he wasn't going for the, CEO top position per se. Or maybe he was like, listen, give it to me, but if you don't want to give it to me, I still want a job, right? So, but whereas with Sarah, I don't think it was unattainable. I think if you give me somebody else the CEO position, she's gonna leave, and then you're probably gonna have to get rid of her. So the war is over. Now it's just a case of execution. What you can say is that, like, and maybe this is what the hope is. It's not just Satya saying, let's bring in someone new to do what we want, which is a better version of Phil, but let's realize that maybe we messed up, and some of his directives we gave, maybe the margins, maybe the marketing to be everywhere, that we should have rolled this back. However, I'm not gonna confess and say I messed up. What we need is somebody to take the fall, and then the new direction, which is our mandate, which was our previous mandate, is gone, and this person can then maybe do what they need to do. You never know. Maybe Sarah's thinking to herself, guys, I could have done this. I could have focused solely on, the Xbox console, etc. However, I still don't think that would have been possible either, because I think Sarah does come from a background that's about, acquisition of players, acquisition of users via T-Mobile. So I think there was just a lot of baggage there. So like she probably just had to go, especially if you want to rebrand as something new. For example, and I'll finish off with this, and then maybe Lo can chime in. I don't think you give it to Sarah and there's this much excitement for the brand again. I think she's still part of the group of people who on the Phil. I don't know who pointed it out. Was it somebody who was it you? I'm not too sure. But someone said basically Sarah is Kamala Harris. The Biden administration
wasn't me.
The Biden administration is Phil Spencer. And people it doesn't matter if you're going to be a little bit better. People just didn't want to see Biden anymore. They didn't want anything to do with that administration. So therefore, they voted for the other party. And I think maybe that's kind of what's happening here as well. You know what? We need a fresh new start, and we don't think your face is good enough for that.
Wow. So she was the sacrificial lamb. Loke, your take?
on whether Sarah Bond was the sacrificial lamb?
Well, yes. Let's actually focus on that because I don't think we've unpacked enough of that. Like, why is it like? Because I'm just gonna go down my timeline here. I just took like a like, of course, this is Matt Booty, but like again, like anyone that doubts, there's a lot of disrespect for Matt Booty's accomplishment. There's a tweet. I don't think I have it here, but like Tai listed all Matt Booty's accomplishments, and he's been more consistent than Phil and Sarah combined. It's unfortunate, but
Is
it's
Matt Booty the next CEO of the
I don't
sinking
think he's
ship?
interested in being the next CEO. I just think he's happy playing his part. He's that guy.
Right.
So I agree with this guy. I can't wait for the next season of Power On, with Asha and how she turned around Xbox. I remember how this whole documentary ends. It ends with someone saying to Phil, "Thank you for saving Xbox," and Phil saying, "Team effort."
Damn.
Ouch. So like, if I just go through my timeline, like I'm just looking at like the memes, and I think they're so funny. Him and Horst watching Xbox take the bullet for him, and this is what we all felt.
Yeah.
This is all the because we were
Yeah,
talking about what is it? Is it Blue Point, Blue Point, Blue Point, and then
Yeah, that's all it was. And then
Xbox comes
Xbox
in,
came in to rescue them.
sweeps, takes the news headlines. So, but do you? Sorry, now I forgot my train of thought.
Yeah.
So, do you think that Sarah Bond should have been included in all of this? Like, why is it that during, African American History Month, shame, man,
Oh God.
Sarah Bond got the.
So what?
the
Black people can't get fired in February. Is this what we're doing
I
now?
I don't know. Can they?
I guess they
Can
can. I mean, if we use our eyeballs, I guess they fucking can.
Yes, clearly
what I-
they can.
What I would say is, I don't think she was the fall girl. I'm more in line with what Seamus Blackley said. I do believe that Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer had a vision for Xbox in the
Breakfast
short
Club, they went to Sharma High School.
in the short term and in the long term. They had
Sorry, go
a
ahead,
unified
sorry.
vision. Yeah, they had a unified vision, and Microsoft has clearly decided that that's not the vision that they have for Xbox, and that's why she needed to go. I don't think she was the fall girl. I think they were just like, yeah, so the current route that Xbox is taking, we're not down with. So both of y'all need to go. I think that's all that happened.
No.
It just looks terrible because Phil was already on his way out, as far as we were all concerned. And we all assumed that Sarah Bond was going to continue on. But again, that could only happen if Xbox and Microsoft agreed on them continuing down the path that they were currently on. This lady has come in because they've now made like a serious trajectory change.
Mhm.
So Sarah Bond couldn't stay. There was no way she could stay because she was in the camp of like, we're keeping it the way, whatever plan that Phil had until 2030, 2035, that was Sarah's vision. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So sorry, I thought I had this mic on mute. So I agree with everything there. I don't think she was necessarily the fall person. However, I think you take an advantage of a situation when it arises. So, for example, Phil was looking to leave. Well, that's true. He probably did tell Satya this and that, and he probably wanted to leave. Maybe, who knows, at the end of the whole Xbox, showcase. Celebrate the whole year properly, etc., etc., etc. That is a strong possibility as well. However, when you're in this kind of corporate setting, you can give as much grace as you can to the person, like someone like Phil. However, the problem is you need to think about what's best for the company as well. You can't have the company taking these L's or not taking advantage of certain things because of an individual. What is always the best for the company? So it's possible that as soon as Phil said he wanted to leave, they were like, okay, cool. Now we can do a reset. And once you have, Asha, who's looking to take on the position, the next question is, wait, how do we introduce this new CEO? How about we have her start off as the CEO, as at the start of the year, and she makes these changes. And when it comes to the actual showcase, which is one of our biggest events, she's the one in front, not Phil, because she's in front. So all those vibes, all these new games, Halo, Gears of War launching, Grades, Forza, Fable, they're all associated with her. Now, it would be great if it was associated with Phil when he's leaving, but no. That doesn't matter anymore right now, because the best thing for the company going forward is for all these W's to be associated with Asha. So I think that's probably what happened. And from a Sarah Bond perspective as well, listen, I think for her, she just resigned basically because she wasn't going to get the position. Now, I think what they...
So you don't think she was pushed out?
Well, no, I don't even know about pushed out. Like, how do we define pushed out? Because basically she applied for the job, I'm sure. They just said no.
Well, the thing is, like, she was still in her current position on Friday, because the way the whole thing happened, and this was the story, of course, that was broken by The Verge, is that she was still making posts normally. Everything was going as planned. Like, according to insiders within Microsoft, this whole thing was supposed to be announced on Monday, and they rushed to announce it on Friday.
Yeah.
And she was completely unprepared. Apparently, her social media team didn't even have a statement out. She never put out a statement, for instance. I don't think she put out a statement to the actual staff. Her statement was on LinkedIn, and she was not mentioned by any of the other bosses when they sent their statements, except for Phil, when they sent their statements to the staff.
So what I think happened there is she knows this was going to happen on a Monday. She was aware of it probably. However, when IGN was trying to leak the story, I think Microsoft were just way more concerned with getting in front of IGN, so nobody was thinking about her at that point in time. And then it's also possible that they knew that they all left on bad terms, and they just didn't really care for her in this way.
So is this why she's omitted from all the celebrations? She's not been mentioned once. The only person that's mentioned her since she's left was just Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
But I think she's I guess the thing is she resigned, so I think it's a little bit different. I think Phil's retiring, so it's a little bit different for him.
But he mentioned her in his thanking her. No one else. Aaron Greenberg, actually, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to show you some of the tweets. Aaron Greenberg went on to share like how excited he was, along with other Xbox staffers, when they are sharing the stage and talking about the future of Xbox. Not a single mention of Sarah Bond, someone that's been there for 9 years, helped build Xbox. I mentioned some of our accomplishments or some of her accolades according in terms of like the plan as it was sort of set out and what she managed to implement. None of those mentioned. Everything, all the discussion was around Phil and Phil's career. The only person that mentioned Sarah Bond, outside from the official statement or release statement from Microsoft, was Phil Spencer. There were there were 4 different, I think, communications sent out. If I remember, it was the one from Microsoft. Then there were 3 from Satya, no mention of Sarah. There was one from Phil, no mention of Sarah. There was one from Matt, no mention of Sarah. And then there was also one from Asha, the incoming CEO, no mention of Sarah.
Just a quick hold on a sec. I need to step out for like 2 minutes.
No problem. Loke, your take?
My take is, guys, if you have a job, whether it's corporate or not, think about Sarah Bond. When they ask you, I'm serious, when they ask you to sacrifice your weekends without extra pay, or even with fucking extra pay, because money can't buy back your niece's birthday, your daughter's birthday, your son's recital, etc. Think about Sarah Bond.
And what she
That's
said.
all I have to say. That the way
Yeah.
I am sure she made sacrifices. You don't get to
Yeah.
where she got to without
And she's
making
youngish.
sacrifices. Yeah, but again, you said 9 years. You said 9 years
Mhm.
in Xbox. My big takeaway from this is like my guy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good it was or is. Always remember you are a number on a spreadsheet, and it doesn't matter whether you're the guard opening the doors or you're the motherfucking CEO or president. You're all numbers on a spreadsheet.
No,
That's
I
my
agree with
takeaway.
you. I agree with you that, like, it's that whole thing that The Rock used to say about, like, know your role. I just wanted to play this. You'll appreciate this, look. Um, do you think this is true? Sorry. Now the audio is not. So this is like one of the main.
Which school? Ridgemont or Faber?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, not John Hughes. It's a trap. Faber College from Animal House.
John Hughes didn't direct Fast Times at Ridgemont High or Animal House. Ferris Bueller and the Breakfast Club, they went to Sharma High School, which is in Shermer, Illinois. I know what you think. You think I'm a corporate asshole, that I don't appreciate pop culture, but man, that's not true. You know, when I want to blow off steam,
Drink tab, play Robotron, listen to Duran Duran.
I crack open a tab, I put on some Duran Duran, I play Robotron. That's why I love the Oasis, because it's just of all these things, man, that people love, you know?
Do you think this was what Asha was doing when she was busy talking to Smash JT?
Bruh, forget about her talking to Smash JT. What about that Xbox profile that was created a month ago? Has completion rates that even if you average it out, it's like apparently for the last month she's been playing like 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, bro. No one's playing 80 hours a week. I don't care how big of a podcaster, YouTuber you are. No one is playing 80 hours a week, and she's popping all of these ultimate achievements. Get the fuck out of here. Of course she's a plant, bro. Of course.
No, we know.
Again, it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. Guys, how many corporals need to lie to you until you can understand that that's what corporals do?
Dan, and I hear you. I hear you.
Again,
You sound a little. You sound a little bit. You sound like
Think about it.
someone's. Sorry, go ahead.
I sound like a what?
No, I said you sound like someone straight out of Cyberpunk. Welcome, Kenwell. Kenwell. Yeah, I think we have a couple of more minutes because we don't want to drag because it's middle of the week and there's work tomorrow, unfortunately. So we're not going to drag it much longer. But I'll say this: this was the reason I did this one now is because I just wanted to address all the immediate talking points. There will be a part 2 on Friday. If you want to continue this conversation with us, you can join us then as well. And you're welcome to be part of the panel. You can even join now, but it's just, unfortunately, we're going to be leaving very soon. I wanted to address this, and I think this would be a nice topic for us to sort of unpack further Friday. But I just wanted to get you quick sort of like headline points. You see this sort of like, do you agree with this? What Smash JT is saying here and the rest of the incel mafia?
Women killing video games. No, I don't agree with it.
I don't think this is fair. I just think this is so childish. Such a for a grown man to make such like this sort of takes to me is just I don't like aside from if you're grifting, I don't see what the point of singling out people based on what private parts they have and comparing that to how competent they can be in a job. I think this is so childish for a grown man.
But this is Smash. This is Smash we're talking about. I'm
sorry?
not shocked.
Yeah, well, it's Smash, it's Grams, they all have this idea. So this was the conversation that he was having with what he thought was Asha Sharma's AI. So I think there's some room to that. Do you think, and I'm just going through the tweets, do you think they meant this? when someone posted this and said we would like to see exclusives, and she said, "I hear you."
No, I think she meant it the same way. Like when you complain about whatever at your workplace, and you complain
Yeah,
it to HR or to your supervisor, and
yeah,
then they say duly noted via the email. Brother,
yes,
it doesn't mean anything is gonna get done about what you complained about. It's just to say
yeah.
that the email you sent was read. That's all that
Okay.
happened.
I'm in agreement.
I think one
Um,
thing that I actually think is really out of everything she said, I think the most important thing that she said to me is not really a return to Xbox, but this idea of I need to find out why the decisions were made, because what that tells me is that she's looking at, okay, how did we end up in this situation, and what were the fixes that people were looking to accomplish maybe the targets that Microsoft was doing, and can we do that? And I'm hoping that she can look at these situations and say, okay, here's what happened. To Satya and Amy, you guys had the right idea. You gave the previous administration or the previous leadership all these finances to execute a strategy. This was perfect. It was actually going to work. I have come to the realization that the reason why it didn't work and that you had to pivot is because the people who you had in place botched the job. And because you guys spent 80 billion on this, at some point you wanted your return on investment. And because you weren't getting it, you then had to then push them to find those margins, which then led to them go multi-platform. But at the same time, that strategy has somewhat hurt the idea of growing the ecosystem and tarnished the actual core consumer, which are the console guys. So here's what we're going to do. You need to give me the same support you were willing to give them, the same hits, the same sacrifices, all that, and I will execute better. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Because if that's what's going to happen, we're basically going to go back to, because you got to think about it. When, Double Fine, Playground Games, In Exile, when all those announcements were happening at E3, that was a very good time for Xbox.
yeah.
Hey, we're doing Game Pass Ultimate, every game, day one. Well, sorry, not Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass, every day, game one. Cloud gaming. They had all these pillars that was going to help grow the console, that was going to help grow the ecosystem. It's just the execution was so poor. And the key thing here is that you give her that support and you allow her to execute better, I think you will get something special. Now, are they going to say, no, execute better without exclusives? I'm hoping she tells them, I need more of this. I need something else to attract people towards the ecosystem. Gamers are not going to just come over to our ecosystem because we have AI tools. We need exclusive content, we need exclusive features, and we need to match Steam in terms of the quality that they push out when it comes to this PC storefront then. Like, give me all the tools you can, and I promise you, the Xbox brand will be bigger than ever.
Okay, your camera is a bit blurry for some reason. It's out of focus.
It's
So
all the
I'm just
sweat
going
from
through.
giant biceps.
It's so like I'm just going through some memes here. There's a specific thing that I'm getting through, and then we'll close. So there's a lot of this around, like, and this is exactly what
She's a
Vincent is
bot,
saying.
bro. She's a
Asha
bot.
is a bot.
My guy.
Body blue raised
Listen.
arms.
Listen,
Yeah.
what was she saying in 2022? What was she saying in 2023? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you look at this person's profiles, whether it's Instagram, you can say,
Oh,
oh, she
okay.
wasn't on Twitter. All right, fine. Look at all her other socials. This person, like, don't be sitting here. Like, I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, because she's not a gamer, she shouldn't be the CEO of Xbox. I don't agree with that. I think that she can definitely do the job. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
don't be trying to astroturf and pretend as if you've always been this thing. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. You know,
The
just be honest with us, guys. I've never been about this life, but I think I can make this work. I'm down with that type of like rhetoric. But don't be sitting here acting as if, I'm just like Phil, you know, like I've always been playing video games just for fun. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there's a specific tweet that I can't find. I actually wanted this, but like it basically asks something about Sarah. But I'm happy with what we've covered here today. I think we've unpacked a lot of the topics that were sort of being discussed throughout the week in regards to Xbox and these huge changes when it comes to leadership and the direction.
Wait, hold on. I don't think we have.
We might not have covered everything, but this is just part one. I don't know if you were here when I said that whatever we didn't cover, we'll cover Friday. Just because of the fact that it is the middle of the week.
Oh, so you want to go to bed?
No.
Just say you want to go to bed then. Don't say we didn't cover.
But I think we've covered most of them. What is it that we haven't?
Tell everyone that you're a punk bitch, Oshus. Say it.
Says the man that doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. So we spoke about. I'm just gonna go through it. We spoke about the leadership changes or the huge.
Well, I think there's a few points. So, like, number one is this idea that, like, you know, Microsoft is a software company, right? So, therefore, this whole idea of a console doesn't make sense to them.
I wanted to share this with you when it comes to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where that comes from. I don't know if you've seen this documentary. I'm sure you have. Share. Is there anything else, Ty, that comes to mind that we need to address?
Well, there's that, but there's also, the Seamus Blackley.
No, we'll talk about that Friday because that's just gonna be. Okay. I can see where that rabbit hole is gonna go. Let's tackle that Friday because Friday I also want to tackle Blue Point and anything that we might have missed here. Why does load keep getting kicked off? Let's see. Power on. Okay, look, I'm gonna put you back on now. There we go. So
I have no idea what's going on.
That's Elon Musk's internet that you're using.
Maybe, but I've never had issues with.
It's not made for your kind, boy.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm just trying to see now. Oh, it's the 3 control panels. There we go. This is from Xbox's Victory Lap documentary, Power On, the story of Xbox. Let's put the sound on.
Video games are one of the most powerful mediums ever created. This merger of imagination and technology has introduced a fundamental evolution in human interaction. And now represents a culture of 2.4 billion gamers connected worldwide. Yes! But just 20 years ago, the console that kicked off the era of online gaming in the living room almost didn't exist.
You ever want to make hardware?
No, that's one thing that we decided not to do.
The idea that Microsoft could ever create a game console was seen as a bit of a joke.
Microsoft?
They wear khakis and they're boring and their Office and their Windows.
Might as well call it Nerdbox, right?
I can't imagine how it could be better.
A new console was seen as a risky bet.
There it is.
At a company not accustomed to losing.
You're proposing taking money away from Windows in order to fund some game system?
That is an insane business to get into.
It was fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
We're gonna make it, aren't we, sir?
This is the story of how a passionate group of gamers forever changed the course of a corporate titan.
They saw the future.
Broadband internet to the television set.
Like, you can do that?
And then Bill says, we should do this. We should let these guys do this.
And the journey to get that controller into our hands.
So that's the only point I wanted to make is that anyone that discusses Microsoft and hardware, they know like that there's always been almost like a hardcore stance that hardware is not our thing. And the Xbox existing is a miracle.
It's in
based
the
on
name, bro. Microsoft.
100% agreed. So like, yeah, so Ty, like we when we're talking about this, I can't remember like what your perspective was on that take, but I'm sure you want to elaborate. Please go ahead.
Yeah, but my perspective is, I think it just seems like it's a way for people to shoehorn or force these companies into narratives that they want them to focus on, and I just think it's quite silly overall. So, for example, Microsoft is a software company, but that just means that their speciality or where their strength lies is in software. Therefore, that will be the foundation. In the same way how Asha has said in the past that Valve, if you want to like build off something, you need a good foundation. So Steam, the ecosystem, is the foundation. But then guess what? They also made the Steam Deck, and now they're making the headset. Now they're also making the Steam machine. Like it's just, think of any company out there that's like major, that's big. Do they just do one thing, or have they branched out? But even from a risk perspective, Facebook or Meta, yeah, okay, they're primarily software, but guess what? They had VR, right? Didn't they? They've tried to branch out into multiple different segments as well. But anyways, if we focus, let's just keep it to like a bit of gaming and maybe like some of the big players. Google is a software company, but they've built Chromebooks, right?
Okay.
They've built.
So can we bring it back to gaming specifically?
But why?
But
why?
Just to make it more relative to the gaming conversation.
No,
you can't
well, hold on. Wait, there's only 3 players in the gaming, but there's only 4 players, aka Valve, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Like, okay, is Nintendo a hardware company or a software company?
They're a hardware company that uses software to sell hardware.
Okay, but do they make amazing software?
Absolutely, yes.
So you can do both. You can walk on shoe. Great.
No, absolutely. So, but like that's not the point. The point is not whether they can do it. The point is that the company culture, originally, this is the same thing. This goes back to the conversation that
but my point is the same company culture that gave you the Xbox 360.
Sorry.
It's the same company culture.
Yes, but what I'm saying to you is that
one of the best consoles ever made.
Yes, but what I'm saying to you is that the perception about Microsoft, not just from outside, but from inside Microsoft, was that we are not a hardware company until they were convinced that that's viable. I'm saying that's where the perception
Sony,
people.
And
but
Sony had no interest whatsoever.
No, I hear what you're saying.
In
but let me finish my point. My point is very simple: is that this perception didn't come from the sky. This is a perception that was gathered from the struggle, what it took. Yes, we understand we are here where we have Xbox, but there's always been this perception that Microsoft and Windows executives do not necessarily like investing in hardware. And this comes from this, just that early. This is not anyone else's documentary, mind you. This is Microsoft's documentary saying Bill Gates, the guy who ran the company at that time, did not want to get into hardware. The whole episode focuses on them trying to convince them and how long it took them to convince them to get into hardware. And several times throughout the journey of Xbox, when things have not worked, they've chosen to, or it's been considered, or what this is what we've heard, we don't know. But there's a lot of times, like even when Satya came in, there was a conversation that Satya had where he said, I'm not sure if this is a business that we want to continue in. And then that's where Phil comes into that conversation, etc., etc. I'm just saying the perception was always there that Microsoft is a software company first, and that's where they will double down. Nobody ever saw a situation where Microsoft would spend 69 billion in gaming based on a hardware initial investment. But that's where we got to. I'm not saying it didn't happen, and I'm not saying that they're not willing to do it. I'm saying the perception has always been created that Microsoft was not interested in endeavoring in hardware. But sorry, go ahead.
No. All that is like true, because like the foundation is software. And I can almost probably the same thing. There are people in Valve who were saying, why the hell did we get into hardware? Why are we getting into hardware still to this day? But you gotta dabble in it when the opportunity comes. So for example, you remember the Zune MP3, which was meant to compete with the iPod? That was hardware, right? It didn't work out because for different reasons. They suck. They were bad. You remember the mixed reality HoloLens? That was one as well. The Surface, the Lumia phones. Like this is all hardware. They make hardware devices. The Surface laptops are hardware. Like they do all these things. So when people try to say well, no, your software and that's all you should be doing, or well, because your software, you're gonna bounce out of hardware very easily. Yeah, that is true to an extent because their foundation is in software. Like all these other hardware stuff are just more or less side projects that they're hoping that's gonna manifest into certain things. And the reason why I said that, we can talk about Google and all these other companies is because we can even look at Apple, for example. Is Apple a hardware company or a software company? You're on mute.
My bad. So Apple, because as someone that has worked and represented Apple's entire philosophy is the exact opposite of Microsoft, is that they do a closed system where they make their own hardware and their own software internally in-house. They don't ask AMD or anyone to do that for them. They are both powerful in both pillars. They have superior hardware, consumer-based, and superior software, consumer-based, that only work on their ecosystem.
Yes, true. But are they a hardware company or software company? How did they start?
Well, they started with both. They started with hardware and software. They started with the Mac. I believe the first was what was the very first Apple? I'm forgetting now. But it had both software and hardware.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
It's not just hardware.
No.
But they're not just primarily hardware, and then they ended up building
Nope.
upon that.
They had an operating, there was a conversation that Bill Gates had with, there's a documentary.
But wait. What was the software? Wait, but the hardware was good, and the software was crap.
Which one are you they've never had crappy software historically. They both stole the OS for the hardware from Xerox, and then when Microsoft then went, they had a deal. I can't remember the specifics. Guys, I know who's this Vincent Vega. If you're still there, please give us the detail on this. But initially, the OS that ended up being Mac OS, I think, and part of Windows, or the initial part of DOS or Windows.
So it says here, it says that they started first as a hardware company. The first products were physical computers, Apple I and Apple II, which were highly successful.
Apple II was the most successful one.
And then Apple has always developed its own software, but it was created to run on their hardware. Okay, early Apple DOS, later Apple OS.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they started with both. I know this because I work for the company, so I'm very much versed in terms of Apple's philosophy in making hardware that is 100% built for their software.
Okay. I kind of scratch Apple away from that. I think what the point I'm trying to overall say is that you can branch out to these other and you shouldn't shoehorn yourself. Microsoft will obviously 100% focus on the software side of things because that's a speciality. But the idea that just because that's how you started doesn't mean you can be successful branching out. I just don't get it. Because like I said, Xbox 360 is one of the most successful devices out there, and that's hardware.
No, I agree. And another example to add to that, Tai, is also Nintendo. Nintendo has always been a software and a hardware company primarily. They've done both. Same with Sony. Sony has always done both. They've always produced software and hardware for their consoles.
Wasn't Sony first hardware though?
No, they was first you
mean with the devices.
Yeah, I'm talking within their devices.
But I think most people would argue that Sony wasn't software. They just basically reached out to people to make the software for them. Then they started getting into software later on.
But they got into gaming through software. Remember, we had this conversation about Sony ImageSoft was a publisher since 1989.
No, they got through gaming through hardware. It was the CD, was the physical device that they had, and then they were trying to sell that to Nintendo. Remember, Nintendo was supposed to do with the software.
Yes, I'm aware of that. But their entry into gaming was as a publisher. through Sony ImageSoft.
Yeah, but I mean, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but I mean, there's still a hardware company, probably primarily first, right? But even as a publisher, I wouldn't, because Microsoft could say like, yeah, but we published Flight Simulator as well.
Yeah, but like they were always a software company first.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like it wouldn't like. I don't think being a publisher would really matter. Like if you, because anyone can be a publisher. What I'm trying to say is like, did you make the game yourself? Like for example,
they made games.
Nintendo makes their own games, so I'll be like, okay, fine, that's software. But if somebody was publishing games, I wouldn't really like. For example, Tencent publishes games; they don't make games. I wouldn't call them software.
ImageSoft made. That's where Jaffe started his career. He was a tester for Sony ImageSoft. His most successful game was Epic Mickey, I think, which was an early ImageSoft game.
Yeah, that's true.
So they made their own games as well. And what they did is that they took games based on licenses from Sony movie properties, and then they turned those into games. But anyways, I don't think that's either here or there. Like,
it's just a point that I noticed. Another point that I wanted to touch on real quick, unless you want to bounce off now.
Yeah, no. Like, let's give it another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, sure. The other point I wanted to touch on real quick is this idea of like, is it possible for them to, close the genie to go back into being a first party? And I think that's a difficult thing to do. Sorry,
go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
What I think is a difficult thing
to do.
I don't believe it's as difficult as to make it.
Don't say it like that, man. Jesus.
So the first thing here is, from a financial point of view, what really makes Xbox's finances is Call of Duty and King. It's ABK. If you remove ABK, what you're left with is just Xbox Studios, right? So from an argument point of view, let's say next year, let's say this year, you take out all the Xbox Studio games from PlayStation, like you cancel Gears of War, you cancel Halo, all these titles. All those titles being canceled this year from PlayStation storefront should and will still give you more revenue just by itself with Xbox than whatever you made last year from the Xbox Studios. Because last year all you had was Avowed anyway, and on PlayStation you had Outer Worlds 2, which flopped. You had Hellblade 2, which flopped. Like all these titles that they've published on PlayStation, bar Sea of Thieves and Forza Horizon 5, they haven't given that much. I don't think they've given that much revenue. They haven't done the numbers that are fantastic. Therefore, you could actually probably, from an accounting point of view, justify saying, yeah, we published 5 games on PlayStation last year, for argument's sake. But Gears of War, Forza Horizon 6, Halo, and Fable all launching in 2026 will give us far more money than last year regardless. And people can say, well, what about ABK? No, but ABK is already qualified. It's already going to be on PlayStation. Yeah. So I think you can actually get away with it, to be honest. In fact, I even go further. 2026 should be the year, from a financial point of view, it should be the Xbox Series X and S best year from a financial point of view. The only year that it probably wouldn't have surpassed is the year Starfield dropped, maybe. But Starfield was still just one game. And the other games that dropped around that time was Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall, which flopped. Forza Horizon 6, Fable, Gears of War, and whatever else should drop in, will surpass, it should in theory surpass any of the last 5 years in terms of revenue. So I don't think PlayStation is that much of an equation. And then if you start from there, then you build up slowly, or you keep building up, and I think you should be fine. I don't think it's that problematic.
So how long does your plan of action to turn around Xbox, based on what you just said, take?
So what do you mean? Do you mean like if you're gonna go exclusive?
No, if you don't go exclusive, if you follow like your model, how long would that take to sort of like yield the results that you're looking for?
Oh man, it's gonna take the rest of the generation and the whole of the next generation.
Okay. No. Fair enough.
Because, and I'll get to Rachel's question in a second, but the reason why it's going to take that long is, and you might not even succeed, that's a problem, because again, you're not dealing with Sega or Nintendo here.
Yeah.
You're dealing with PlayStation, who are quite ruthless themselves, and if they detect that you are trying to go to war, they will double down as well. They'll hit up the guys at Crimson Desert and say, yo, you guys turned us down because we offered you 50 million, here's 100 million. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna get really rough. But you do it now. You stop Gears from going over 100%. You stop Halo. You stop Fable from going over. You still give them Starfield. Sure, go ahead. You'll give them that. Forza, you can make an argument because it's live service. However, and then going forward for 2027, not only do you have your State of Decay 3. And you have your also your other Xbox titles, but what you should be doing now is reaching out to devs and saying, we're gonna time exclusive now. We're going back to the 360 days. We were time exclusive in consoles. And games. And I think you need to follow that up by showing the people that, like, yeah, it wasn't just taking these games off PlayStation, but now here are these big ass IPs that are only coming on Xbox because we're now time exclusive in these games. And once you start to do that, you start to shift. People start to actually believe in you and trusting you. You start to get your players back. And then you keep building from there and there. Then when the next console comes out, you might even have to do something even braver and say, Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, you might have to just do this and say, it's not coming out on the it's not coming out on the Xbox Series X and S. You might just have to say, no, we need you to buy the new console because this is where it starts. So forget the Series X and S. That's Phil's console. Okay, fuck that console. Now it's about me.
Oh, damn.
So now you're dropping exclusives on your next-gen platform. So now people got to make a decision. Because remember, the Series X and S is done already. You don't really care about it. It's like you're finished with it. I mean, you're charging $900 for it, $800 for it. So you're trying to move everyone to this new system where you're trying to tell them, like, this is where it's at right now. And we're ahead of the competition. So that when the competition then finally drops their console, which is PlayStation 6 or whatever it is, not only do you have a more powerful device, you have a device that has exclusives, and you de facto get their own games as a timed exclusive via Steam. Like, these are the things that I actually believe the Xbox Series X and S had. The problem was the execution. That was it.
Brave strategy, Cotton. Let's hope it works. But anyways, like, yeah, no, like,
it'll never work, Ty, because even if you got the job, even if Ty got the job tomorrow and they called him up to Xbox, Ty, this is like rose-tinted Colt Eastwood type of content. My brother, when you start talking about corporations, you can never ignore the shareholders. Shareholders care nothing for company sentiment. They care nothing for exclusivity. All they want to know is, does the number go up now that Ty is with us? That's all they want to know. And this business about exclusivity, yes, exclusivity in the long run, the way you've explained it gives Xbox hope. There's no shareholders trying to talk about long run. It's all about the next quarter. No one cares about 10 years from now. None of those shareholders care about that. Next quarter. So you're not going to convince any of them to give up potential earnings because in 10 years, we're going to be relevant. I'm sorry.
So I think it depends. Because while you're right, like, you know, they want the money for the next quarter, a lot of them are investing for the future play as well. You know, like, you're investing in Microsoft, not necessarily because every quarter you're going to get all this cash. You're investing in that because 10 years from now, you expect your investment to be far more. So I think that's important here. And if you can translate to them that doing it this way will yield more revenue, better results in the future, I think you can. but it just needs to be smart how you do it. And I think this year it could, I mean, like, they're not gonna do it this year obviously, but like you could do it, because this would be a high revenue year, even with the Xbox Series X and S. I mean, listen, you still have Steam, so you're still gonna drop it on PC anyway, and everyone's still gonna buy it there. So you do that.
And that's where most of the gamers are anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So you're still gonna bring in the revenue, like, you know, and also you have your Game Pass stuff, and then you're gonna have GTA coming out as well. So you're gonna get something from there. Like, this 2026 year should be the year where the showrunners are like, okay, that's fine, and then then when the Series X2 drops or whatever it is, you're releasing that device as a at cost. You're not taking losses from it, and if you're not taking losses, then you don't have to incur those problems. So it is very pie in the sky, optimistic from their point of view. I don't know if the truth is, I don't know if Satya or even Amy are willing to take that bet again, because they already did that bet with Phil Spencer and it didn't work out. So to kind of go all in again just seems a bit much. So I don't expect it, but it's something that they could do. I think they could pull it off.
Okay. Again, going back to the fat girlfriend analogy, yes, it is possible. It is possible. Will it happen though? Big fat no.
Look, it's anyone's guess at this point in time, and yeah, maybe we should give Xbox the benefit of the doubt. I have no dog in this fight.
It's not a guess. It's not a guess, Oshas. I'm sorry. It's not a guess. If there was a place for us to, like, if Polymarket opens a position, I'm making my bets against Xbox.
Okay. No.
Like, I'm putting all my money on them.
Okay. Cool. I know, like, look, I hear where you're coming from, but unfortunately, personally, I have absolutely no dog in this fight. This is something that a year ago would have affected me, or 2 years ago would have affected me, and I would have had a much more stronger opinion about it. But now I'm just interested to see where Xbox takes this. I just wanted to end on this skit, but before I play this, Taye, Luke, you guys are going to be back with me Friday. We'll continue this conversation, because again, there's a lot of these topics that I want to go and dig deeper in. And whatever we missed, I've got all the minutes and stuff still laid out. Whatever we missed, or whatever we need to go into more detail or in depth with, we can do. But Taye, what have you been playing, or what have you been up to? And is there anything that you would like to plug?
So I've been playing Club Obscure. I'm at Act 2. Sorry, I'm at Act 3. And from what I can see, it seems like Act 3 is quite fast. Like, you just go there and fight the boss, but they allow you to, explore the world and, do different things. It's a really good game. I'd recommend it for sure. I think it might feel a little bit overhyped, because everyone's like, oh, 10 out of 10, etc., etc. Like, I personally don't think it's close to Metaphor or even like Persona 5. Like, it's a good game, but I just don't think it's like defining.
Oh my god.
I agree with Taye.
We don't have time.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh my god. We don't have time.
Wait, look, did you finish it?
Yeah, of course I did.
Just a quick one then. Just a quick one. When you get to Act 3, which is, the situation that happens, does it finish relatively fast from there or not?
I guess it depends on how you play it. For me, none of those acts were fast.
Okay.
When I play video games, I smell all the roses. I read all the little notes. I take my time. So yeah, I'm the worst person to ask this question.
And Ken also says he agrees with Taye as well. Like, the ending in that game is depressing as
you guys.
Yo, I didn't get to the ending.
I wish I'd actually never gone down that rabbit hole. And
also,
I didn't finish it. I stopped.
Also, there isn't just one ending.
Yeah. Yes, both of them are bummers. I watched both endings on YouTube, and I'm glad I didn't actually finish the game, because that is the most depressing. I can't imagine how many hours you pay to get to those endings. It's like, fuck, what? There is no.
You guys are nuts. Wow. You guys are all nuts. You know what? I'm never coming back to this podcast again. Fuck all of y'all.
Anyways, what have you got to look? What have you got to plug? I watched your show. When was it? Was it you guys broadcast Sunday? Like and I tuned in?
Monday, 4 a.m. Central African time, bro.
Okay. Yeah. It was Monday morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know.
Yeah. Essentially, go to TSWS Gaming, subscribe. Memberships are live. We do at least one live show a week. And what I've been playing is Football Manager. I'm dealing with some personal stuff, so I don't have my desktop. And this is what it's just reminding me of why I need to buy either the Steam Deck 2 or one of these portable consoles after life has settled down a bit for me in the coming months. So yeah, just Football Manager, because my potato laptop. Actually, you know what? I think that's what's been kicking me out. It's not my internet; it's my potato laptop. My potato laptop cannot handle more than what it's handling now. So yeah, Football Manager 2026.
Oh, I feel you. So you're currently gaming on laptop. I thought you were gonna say console.
No, why would I call it a console? It's a laptop.
No, I meant like I thought because you said you didn't have your PC with you. I thought you were gonna say no. I'm currently on PlayStation or on Xbox.
Fuck both of them. Fuck both of them.
All right,
PC is the present and future of gaming.
Okay. You'd find no disagreement with me. But gents, thank you for joining me. Kenwell, I hope to see you on Friday with us for the show. Unfortunately, this one, when you joined, we were almost out. I mean, we did almost 3 hours, which is very short for us. We normally go, I think last time the most we went was like 5 hours. But gents, it's always an awesome pleasure having you guys on. I really love these discussions and these debates, and I want to see us grow these conversations in the future. So yeah, same time, same place. Raichi, Kenwell, Vincent Vega, thank you for joining, guys. Always appreciate your contribution. So I'm going to leave you with Mr. Ron Fudges. He is going to tell us what his role is.
The new president of Microsoft's Xbox division. Quite frankly, we're not doing well. People aren't buying our games. We bought all these studios and they frankly just making games that suck. Redfall, what the fuck was that? And then now, because of the tariffs, we made a 5-year-old system cost $100 more. And we started putting all our games on PlayStation. Remember the good things we used to do? Remember God of War? Well, that wasn't us, but that's a good game. Remember Gears of War? We're putting it out again. Please just buy Xbox games. They're gonna turn me into AI.
Please buy Xbox.
Hi.
Cheers, everyone.
I'm Ron Funches, the new president of Microsoft's Xbox division. Quite frankly,
thanks for joining us. We shall see you next week. Fridays. Actually, not next week. We shall see you this Friday. And yeah, peace.